you like straight up didn't kiss the whole like engagement.
No, didn't kiss at all.
Wow.
My dad was like, that's a horrible idea. What if she kisses like your mom? I was like, that's your wife, Dad. What do you mean? What if she kisses like my mom?
You guys got engaged in June, married in September.
Yeah.
So
You
3
started
month
dating
engagement.
3 months before you were engaged.
Yeah.
That's fast.
It didn't even feel fast.
It didn't
though.
feel
That's
fast.
What crazy.
I went to the doctor. I explained like, hey, I haven't had my period. In the ultrasound, they couldn't find a uterus.
What is there? Is it just nothing?
Yep, just nothing.
I was like, wait, you don't get your period?
He was pumped about that part.
She was like trauma dumping on me, and I'm dumping on her, and it was like, here's all my baggage. You don't want this.
Yeah.
But after that first date, there was so much stuff I just fell in love with, and she fell in love with, that we were just like, it doesn't matter.
Today on the Unplanned podcast, we sat down with social media couple Kenzie and Maverick, who only dated 6 months before getting married. On their very first date, Kenzie opened up to Maverick about her inability to have kids. Since then, they've made plans to start a family through adoption. We talk about everything from their honeymoon horror story, living with their in-laws, and saving kissing for marriage, all on today's episode. What's up, dudes? And welcome back to the Unplanned podcast.
Yay!
Today, we are joined by Kenzie and Maverick. Can we just
Hey.
give it up by Kenzie and
Yay.
Maverick?
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thanks
Give
so
it
much
up.
for coming all this way, you guys.
Of
Dude, we're
course,
excited.
yeah, it was fun.
We're pumped.
You guys just got married? I mean, you guys are like freshly married, and I'm talking...
Dude, fresh.
Is it a month?
A month.
Is it over a month?
Yeah.
Less than a
Been
month?
right out a month,
What,
yeah.
a month
Yeah.
and 14 days.
Holy
Wow.
cow.
Are you
How
guys
does-
still in the
44
honeymoon
days.
phase?
I guess so.
Yeah, she's not mad at me for anything yet, so I guess so.
I don't know
But
what
I'm-
not being in the honeymoon phase is, so I guess yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of like really good at this husband thing, I think.
Oh my
So
gosh.
You figured it
Yeah,
out.
I think so.
Enlighten me. How do I be the best husband possible?
listen, all you do is you play Apex from like 9
Oh my
to like
gosh.
11,
Apex?
and you're good.
What? Yeah, I don't
Exactly.
even know what
It's
I
that
just
some
let
is.
her read her
video
book.
game.
I just play video games.
You're a book reader?
Oh, okay.
Well, I just
Yeah.
started. My sister-in-law, Kate, likes to read a lot of books,
Okay.
and so she's put me on. So I just started my book addiction.
What book are you reading?
The Hawthorne Legacy. There's
Okay.
like a series of 3, and I'm just about done with the 3rd book. So I'm gonna move on to something else. So
She
That's
seriously looks
cool.
like a 5-year-old. Her and Kate both. They'll like be sitting on the couch, headphones on, iPad in hand, just
reading our books. And then
crazy.
we both got those they're called warmies. They're like little stuffed animals, which I know sounds so childish, but
Yeah.
you put them in the microwave and they heat up and you just set them on your stomach and they feel so good. And so we read our books with our we look like children.
Wait,
It's-
that's honestly such a vibe.
it is.
That's so
Kinda
nice.
sort.
Okay, are you a Kindle person or do you like a physical
No, she
book?
said iPad.
Well,
Oh, what?
I did have my iPad in hand, but I was doing emails while I was listening to the book at that point.
Oh.
But I
Really?
have the actual books. Yeah.
That is
So you
fascinating.
want to
Yeah.
also get the physical copy of the book
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
See, Matt doesn't get that. He's
I
like, why don't
literally-
you just read it? I'm like, I want to
And I
have
can
it.
put it on the shelf
Exactly.
too afterwards. I
I'm
can
a
be like, look
physical
what
book. I
read.
don't like it on the iPad or like on a Kindle.
Well, see, an
I haven't tried a
iPad,
Kindle, but
it hurts my eyeballs, but then on the Kindle, you can turn off the light, so it's like, it literally looks
Looks
like
like
paper.
paper. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might would like that because I can't do the iPad. I just can't.
No, yeah, that's such a big screen, so bright.
Yeah.
I can read way faster on a Kindle though than like a physical
But
book.
you can turn the light up for like an airplane.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
can brighten the screen, you can darken the screen, you can make it dark mode.
I always have mine in dark
Like,
mode.
I like to have my screen black and then the words white, the text white, is what I do.
I'm not even looking to a Kindle for Christmas.
It's the
Yeah,
best.
so you're laying next to each other in bed, and like one person wants to go to sleep, and the other person
Yeah.
will just be on their Kindle.
I'm the one who wants to go to sleep though. That's one thing I've learned about marriage is that you have to give up all your sleep because this guy doesn't go to sleep till like 3 a.m. sometimes.
Really?
I'm like, we were talking about it before we started, but like Joe Rogan, like all these crazy podcasts, like I have to listen to them sometimes.
Has
and
to. It's a need apparently.
especially like now that I'm married, I'm not single anymore. I used to listen to these like while I drive around and do stuff like that. But now I'm like in the car, so it's like I can't just like play Joe Rogan in the car.
You're
so
like,
it's
honey, can I turn this on?
12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Like I'm sitting there listening to it, and like I just can't. I almost can't sleep without it now. I feel like
That's not
You
good.
fall asleep listening to it?
sometimes if it gets boring, but I try to like I'll get through like half of it usually.
You're not doing anything else. You're just sitting listening to a podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
in bed. It's crazy.
Lights off, phone off, just sit there and listen.
What's been the most unexpected thing about marriage that you've discovered?
Honestly, for us, it's probably different than other people because like we still live with Cash and Kate,
Yeah.
and so like there's like 4 of us plus our cousin Alex, who's like our editor. He works with us, and then there's another guy that started this week, and he's living there too. So there's like
We have
6 of
6
us,
people living in the
Yeah.
house.
6 people,
It's
6
a
of us
lot.
living there.
It is a lot.
And so it's kind of just like it's like we're married, but it's also like we're all just living with our friends and like having a great time. It's almost like a content house but like we're married,
I
so
feel
it's
like
great.
my life has altered a lot more than Maverick's has.
Yeah.
I lived 2.5 hours away from Maverick when we were dating, so I had to quit my job. Oops, sorry. I quit my job. I moved 2.5 hours.
Wait, where were
to
you
his-
working before?
in Temple. It's like Central Texas at a convenience store.
Okay.
Not at the convenience store. I worked at the corporate office, but
Okay.
Maverick likes to joke that I worked at a gas station. But no, I was in marketing.
Okay.
Very cool.
So yeah, I had to quit my job and move with him, and then also I lived by myself, and now I live with 6 people. So
Oh, wow.
it's
Yeah, you
definitely
have-
been a game changer. That's for sure.
Oh, and her dog. Oh man. The dog is like, it's like if a dog had cocaine for breakfast every morning.
She's a little crazy.
It's crazy. It's
But
like,
she's the
it's
sweetest
literally on
thing.
speed, just running. It's so fast.
She has 2 modes. It's little cuddle buddy, or it's I'm going crazy. I'm not going to stop for hours.
What kind of dog?
She's a German short-haired pointer. So she's meant to hunt, but she hunts all day long until 9 p.m. and then she's
Like this
out.
morning, I went out there and I was like, what do you have? And she'd caught a woodpecker.
Wait, she
Yeah.
actually does get animals.
Sometimes, yeah. Like the other day,
it's
she killed
happened
some
a couple
bunnies.
times.
Like she'll just, and we don't have that big of a yard. I mean, she's really maximizing her hunting space here. Okay.
Where did you find that?
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on? But she can jump like 5 times her height. Like she'll just jump like way up in the air. She flies.
Wow.
She flies. It's
Okay,
crazy.
correct
So you
me
have
if I'm
7
wrong. Oh, what?
living-
Oh, 7.
Yeah,
7
yes.
living things at your house.
Yeah.
Minus the woodpecker.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys got engaged in June and then married in September, right?
Yeah.
And
So
you
3
started
month
dating
engagement.
3 months before you were engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hold up. Let's do some math. March is when you guys started
Yeah.
dating.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Early March, yeah.
Wow, that is really that's fast. How
Yeah,
how
it
It
was.
is fast. It didn't even feel fast.
It didn't
though. That's
feel
what's
fast?
crazy. It's
It felt like it was
people are-
taking forever, honestly.
did. It was like, I mean, we had known each other before that for a little while.
Yeah.
And I had actually asked her out. She rejected me. And so then I had to wait like a year.
when did that happen? How far
I
back
was
are we
like,
talking?
that was March
A year.
17th, the year before.
You're
Why
a
did
wow,
you-
date
Yeah.
guy. You know the dates.
Why did
and-
you
Wait,
tell him
that's when
no?
you asked her out and she
Yeah.
said no?
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
think that he asked me out, actually.
I
I
will
would have
pull up
probably
the
told him
receipts.
no. But no, he asked me to go to church. And I already had plans to go to church with some of my friends. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I already have plans. And he just gave up super quickly. So I
Well,
don't take that
it
as
was
a
like,
no, but-
and then I like text her like, how was church? And she's just like, good. I was like, okay, cool.
I was
So I
very
just left it
content
there.
in my singleness and didn't want to open the door for
Yeah.
anything or anybody. And
But so then I just kind of like waited for a while. I was like, so we just like kept hanging out because she lived like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So we just kept hanging out like in our friend group. And then I was
well,
like,
how
all
do you
right.
say our friend group? It was definitely my friend group, and he befriended all my friends.
I hang out with
and
her
forced
friends
him
way more
his
than
way.
she did,
Playing long
though.
game.
Because she lived so far away, so we always hung out.
Yeah.
And then when she'd come up, we'd all hang out with her. You know.
Yeah.
It'd let you in the friend group sometimes.
I really actually got to know Maverick through my friends more at first. So like the year I think it was that he was hanging out with my friend group, all my girlfriends were calling me and like, wow, this guy's like so amazing. And I'm like, oh, did I just like lose my shot there? I just kind of told him no and disregarded him. But over the year I'd come up to see my friends in Dallas, and he would always be there just worming his way into the friend group. And I got to know him and saw that he's not like this arrogant social media guy. He actually
Dude, everyone thinks that. They just all think like because you do social media, like you're this like self-obsessed, like arrogant person. I feel like.
Well,
Maybe it's
not
just me.
everybody. I think it's just your personality.
I don't feel like I do that on social media.
No, not on social media. No. Even if you didn't have social media at all, you're just very confident.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
No, I mean, I think it was just you. I don't think other people think that.
I don't know.
Because
Maybe
like I don't know, I feel like when I meet like most of our fans are younger though, so they're like 16 15-year-old girls, so like when I meet them it's just like different. Like I feel like older people just have a different view on it.
Yeah, there's definitely like a stereotype for sure.
Yeah.
You said you were really content in your singleness, but then all of a sudden now you're married a year
Yeah,
later. Like
I
what
know.
changed?
I think I was content in my singleness, but open to the possibility of somebody who fit into my life really well and also really loved the Lord and put him as the main priority in his life. So getting to know Maverick over that year, I realized, oh, like he has a truly kind heart and he does love the Lord and like he pours into his friendships and he's a really great guy. And so then I opened the door a little bit and I was like, maybe we'll see if like he's still interested. And probably January this year, just crazy. It feels like it's been forever, but it's only been
does.
like 7 months. But yeah, January, I was like, okay, like maybe I'll be open to the idea. talked to my friends about it, and they were like, you should go for it, Kenzie. I'm like, I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm going to let him come back if he wants to. And so I prayed about it for like a month or so, and I was like, God, like, if this is what you had for me, like, please open Maverick's heart to like come and pursue me again, because I'm really content with where I am. I'm not going to like go after him because I don't feel the need. But if this is what you have for me, then place it on his heart to do so. And probably a month after that, he came up to me and asked me on a date, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Wow, it only took a month. Thanks, God. And he came up, asked me on a date, and I said yes.
You said pursue me again, which means you knew that you rejected me.
Okay, well, it wasn't.
She also said I was afraid I lost my shot.
Yeah.
I knew he was interested, but I did not consider that asking me on a date.
Did you reject him because you thought he was this arrogant prick?
Yeah, pretty much. No. So to be fair,
that was before I even knew about social media, though.
To be fair,
Oh.
I went to a like porch gala the night I met her, which is just like it's just this like gala thing.
For church.
Yeah.
The porch is a church.
Yeah.
And I went, and there was a group of us, and so like I was dressed like in like a tux kind of outfit thing, and I went to this like honky tonk, so like nobody else is dressed like that. The girls that were with us and everybody's in these nice like gowns and stuff. So we show up there, and we probably did look a little out of place. And then I saw her, and I was like, I'll ask her to dance. Like, I'll see if she wants to dance.
Like
so
everyone's wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and he has like this suit on with his little thing unbuttoned, and I'm like, oh, this guy's cool with himself.
But I knew from just asking girls to dance too, I was like, I can't just ask her to dance. I'm gonna ask her friend to dance first, because I didn't want to get rejected by her, and B, if her friend says yes, then I can dance with her friend. And then I felt like she would just be like, well, I thought he was coming up to me, like I want to dance with him, and like create this like.
He thought he was playing a tactic. I thought he was just playing the field and asking every single girl to dance.
So she definitely thought after that I was like kind of a player, because I literally asked her friends to dance first, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'll dance with you too. Like, if you want to.
Isn't that funny how you can overthink something and end up screwing yourself over? Like, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
I've done dumb stuff like that before.
What drew you to Kenzie?
Man, so like the first night I actually met her, I've told the story before, but she was wearing like a Christian t-shirt, and I go out to the like honky tonk like every weekend pretty much.
Can you
and go
clarify what a
dancing.
honky tonk is, by the way?
Like
It's-
a dance hall.
Yeah, it's like a dance hall.
Cute.
So I would go like two-stepping like every weekend. And everybody's always like, Maverick, you're never gonna find a girl at the bar. Like, what are you even doing there? Like, it's pointless. And I didn't drink or anything. I just go there to dance. Like, I really enjoyed it. And so I was there, and I saw like she had a Christian t-shirt on, and I was like, maybe she's a Christian. I know she could just have like a Christian t-shirt on or whatever. Like, I'll see. And so I asked her to dance, or I complimented your shirt, then asked you to dance, and just kind of like when we were dancing, talked to her just a little bit, and I was like, okay, she's really pretty. She seems like she like has some, like, normally when I would talk to a girl and I'd say, hey, are you a Christian? Like, and I start like talking to them about that, I can kind of quickly tell like, oh, like you don't really read any books like outside of anything. You don't really read your Bible. Like, you can kind of like just get the hint when you're talking to them, like their knowledge and where their heart's at. And when I was talking to her, I was just like, oh, her heart's in a really good place. And like when I would bring stuff up, she's like, oh, like I really like that pastor, or I really like that book or whatever. And she just kind of like already was like in the same space as I was. Like, we were in the same place on our journey in faith. And so I was like, maybe there's potential.
Were
And
you
then I
like
started talking
John
to her friends more.
3:16, go. Corinthians 4:13, go.
Yeah. No,
Got
no,
like your flashcards?
Yeah. No, I was pretty interviewy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was pretty quick.
It's funny though too, because I feel like the way we dated, other people would be like, wow, you are so intense. But like even our first date, we didn't just sit around and like, oh, what's your sister's name? What's your brother's name? What's your favorite color? What's your dog's name? It was more like very intentional. What's your religion? What do you believe about these politics? What do you see yourself in 5 years? It was very intentional from the start. So every date after that, it was just really, really big topics. So it was like we got to know each other pretty quick, pretty fast.
But we had already had like a lot. Like, I feel like when you ask a girl out like randomly on a date, it's like, oh, let's go have some fun or something. Let's go mini golf. Let's go do something to see if we can have fun with each other. And we had already been in the friend group with each other enough to know like, hey, we can have a good time hanging out. Like, we know that. So like, let's see like really when it gets down to like the bare bones of what we believe and what we want in a family, if like we agree on those things. And so that's like what we did on the first date. And I mean, I guess it worked. So
That's really cool. No, I totally understand, because even like I think way back when we first started.
Well, 5 years ago when we got married.
No, honey, I'm talking about like 8
You're
years
so
ago.
how did you
young.
guys meet?
8.5 years ago. We met at a theater.
At a theater?
Like like a
movie
performing-
theater?
No.
We were performers. We did we were
Like
theater
we were
kids.
theater kids.
Oh, okay.
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 We weren't theater kids, but we were theater kids. If that makes sense.
Okay,
No, we
gotcha.
were theater kids, and I think back to like when we first started dating, we were kind of like that. Like we moved really fast, but we still waited 3 years to get married because we were so young. But
Yeah.
I
How
think
old were
6
y'all?
months, I knew we were gonna get married.
So we started dating at 17 and 18 and then got married at 21 and 20. But I hated people like you guys when we were engaged because there were like 2 different couples that started dating,
got engaged, and got married all in the time that we were engaged.
And you're
We were
like, are we slow?
Yes.
What's going on?
I was like, because we were engaged for 13 months.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
So yeah,
That's not, like,
but we were waiting
long,
till marriage,
though.
so that's why I was like, man, these people who just like they just went so. I was like,
so
okay,
jealous.
I'm jealous, you know.
Yeah.
Were y'all waiting because of like wedding planning, or y'all waiting for a certain point in life? What were y'all waiting for?
No,
to-
we were waiting till marriage. Like, what do you mean?
No, I mean, why did y'all wait 13 months as an engagement?
Oh, honestly, just planning the wedding. Like,
I think it was logistics. Like his brother was gonna get married before us, and we wanted to like respect that because they'd been
Yeah.
dating longer, and then they were getting married, and so we planned our wedding 2 weeks after theirs. Once they finally set their date, and so we're like, okay, now we gotta wait.
we were also in college too, so I guess we could have gotten married like between first and second semester of sophomore year, but it
wanted
was
to wait
just
till
like
summer break.
logistically it
Gotcha, yeah.
worked out better. But yeah, so you guys got like when you guys got married, yeah, like you're still the same age as you were a month
Yeah.
ago when you got married, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're still 23 and 24. By the way, we realized this today, you guys. We have like pretty much every single person in their mid 20s represented in this room right now because we have
Yeah, we got all
23,
of them.
24, Abby's 25, and I'm 26. How awesome and cool is that?
I was literally just thinking about this today. I was like, I love 25. I feel like 25 is a really good number.
Right
so you
in
guys
the
have a
middle.
lot to look forward to.
Oh, good. I
next
turned
year.
25 in December, so
Nice.
I'm close.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, my birthday's in December.
When's your
Oh,
birthday?
your birthday?
The first.
Oh, mine's the 21st.
We're all 3 December. When are you?
June
Oh,
18th is my
you
birthday.
just left out, man.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Left off the couch, left out of the birthday.
Yeah, you are kicked off the couch.
I know.
So, you guys had admitted you're like, we're definitely still in the honeymoon phase, which
Yeah.
is understandable and great
Sure.
and blissful, beautiful.
Yes.
Are you at all worried for when conflict comes? You're like, well, we're already married. Oh, crap.
Nah, she
don't
she
think
listens
so.
pretty well.
Oh my
No, I'm kidding,
gosh.
I'm
Be
kidding.
quiet.
No, I mean we could, but I mean like we went through like the ways we kind of like deal with conflict and things like that before we got married. So just like kind of the prep, we read some books on marriage before we got married together, and went through those and studied them. And I feel like we're prepared, but ultimately there's gonna be stuff that comes
Yeah.
up, and I mean it's gonna be stupid stuff. Like I don't think it's gonna be like the big things, but it's gonna be the little things of like just.
You left your toothbrush here. Or,
Yeah, it's just gonna be little things. I feel like that's gonna like eventually like we'll have some sort of fight. But so far it's all like pretty meaningless. The dog maybe.
The dog might be a conflict, but
Yeah.
I feel like I distinctly remember 2 years into when Abby and I were dating that we started to have the infatuation wear off, and it was so fascinating because like I knew that we still like loved each other, really liked each other, but it was like almost like this veil went away because it's the beginning of a relationship is so awesome. Like it really is like
exciting.
a drug, especially as someone
It's
who's
new.
ADHD and like people with ADHD like lack dopamine, so they get like hits of dopamine when they do something crazy like skydive or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Like
that
fall in love.
Like it was literally like a drug. And so I feel you guys are in a really cool spot because it's like you're on drugs right now. It's like you're on this like very natural, like amazing, totally normal drug of like love, and it's a cool place to be. But also when things don't feel as crazy exciting in a year and a half from now,
Yeah.
I feel like that's okay. Like you'll just recognize like, hey, we're gonna keep being best friends because that's what we are, you know?
Yeah. Was that weird for you guys? I mean, especially for you guys, like you guys dated a while before.
Yeah.
So it's like by the time you were married, I feel like obviously you guys, you were still waiting till marriage for some things, but like you still had like that like bond and connection. Not necessarily, I mean, you get it with dating too, like that like honeymoon phase in dating. Like, was that like, when that wore off, was it like weird? And then was it like, oh, it's starting again when you're married?
I think so. It wasn't like we were still like, we were extremely clingy couple. Like, we talked 24/7, like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're always hanging out and always wanted to be with each other. We worked together at like any job we could work together. We're like, we want to do that
Y'all
together.
worked at the same jobs?
Yeah, we worked at a
Oh my
pizza place
goodness.
together, a steak restaurant.
That's so fun though.
And then
love
we
it.
had the wedding to like look forward to, and all that was like so exciting. And then we got married, and we were finally living together. And then it was like a whole new, like you said, like a new infatuation stage. And like, I don't know, it wasn't like it wore off. We were like, oh man, now we have this wedding. Like, it wasn't like that, but it was just like new things to look forward to and be excited about. Thank you to Gooder for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. You're just never gonna catch me spending more than $30 on a pair of sunglasses.
Yep, same.
They
I
are
lose
just
them.
way too easy to lose. I literally lost a pair last week.
Augie's broken 2 or 3 of my
They're
pairs of
destructive.
sunglasses.
And here's the thing. It's like, why spend so much on them? You need them to be functional.
Yeah.
And you need them to be where you need them. So you need multiple pairs probably. One for your car, one for your bag. It's like, you're just never going to see me spending a lot of money on them. And that's why I love Gooder. They're $25 for
Wow.
a good pair of sunglasses that fit you well. They have so many cute styles. I have been rocking the Vanguard Visionary. I like bigger sunglasses because I feel like I have big features on my face. Maybe it's just a me thing. So I like to have big sunglasses. Small ones I don't like the look of on me. But for you, you're wearing a Unicorn's Calamity. I picked those out for you. I didn't even know if you knew what the name was.
Wow, thank
All
you.
the names are so funny for them. I love it. So they're affordable. They have great style. They also fit really well. You can wear them on a run, on a walk. You can wear them if you're going cycling or even just in the car, which is when I normally wear them. Disney World, you're going to need a pair of sunglasses, especially us living in Arizona. It's like the sunniest place ever. They have so many amazing styles, and they're amazing stocking stuffers because like stocking stuffers are usually things that you get and you're like, okay, fun. Yay. I like this. Thank you for doing that. But I don't really have a purpose for this. And everyone needs a good pair of sunglasses. You're constantly needing them for the car, for your bag, whatever. So give people a stocking stuffer that they're actually going to use this year and shop at Gooder. They're perfect for this holiday season. Starting at just $25, you can give the gift of Gooder to anyone this holiday season. Gooder is offering Unplanned listeners free shipping, which who wants to pay for shipping? This is amazing. I love this offer. You can go to gooder.com/unplanned and use code unplanned for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's gooder.com/unplanned and use code unplanned for free shipping.
The first year of being married, anytime Abby had to go like take a shower, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, this is so cool.
You're
There was
still like that, dude.
I guess I am still like that, but I was like really like that. And I remember we made this TikTok back in 2020. There was a trend going on where you basically like the wife or whatever would like undress and get their husband's reaction with like the camera on their husband,
Yeah.
obviously.
Some of those videos, I'm like, maybe we could stand.
But it was like, it was genuinely like, it was genuinely how I felt in that moment and did, still do. But all like a lot of comments were like, man, this guy's clearly like a newlywed, and we had only been married for a year. But I don't know. It was like such a fun thing. I don't know.
No, it is sick. It's sick because you get to be intimate with a person on a different level than you've ever been, and like, man, this person like cares for me in a different way, and you're just like, you're so connected. Just to have those boundaries crossed, it's just, it feels so taboo at first, but it's also so like amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you feel that same way right now? Is that like, what's that newlywed?
Dude, every time I look at you, I mean you. No,
That's hilarious.
no, dude. I mean, it's totally different. Like just going from like dating to being married and living together and experiencing life together, making decisions together. The whole thing is different. But no, I mean, yeah.
That's funny
I
you
love
say
seeing
that
you
though.
naked.
I've never actually. Okay, great. Haven't really talked to you about this, but that's funny you say that because on the honeymoon, we showered together every single shower. And in my head, I was like, oh, this is exciting. But I was also like, I'm never going to get a shower alone again. I was like, this is horrible.
You're like, how am I gonna do my everything shower with
I
someone
know,
in here?
that literally went through my mind. I was like, how am I going to, like, this is horrible. I can't shave my legs
This
in here.
isn't
Like,
practical.
Yes. But we have since veered away from showering every single shower together. But that was something.
She tries to sneak showers. Like she'll
I
wait
do
till like I'm
not.
busy and then she'll go shower.
Dude, you got to get a shower where there's 2 shower heads in the same shower, because we just moved and the new house happened to have a shower
is it amazing?
with 2 shower heads. It's awesome.
It's great for the 5th or 6th year of marriage. We were like, I still want to
5th or 6th
see
year.
you, but
I
I
want
want
you
my
over
own
there.
space.
We both, and we can control the temperatures, right? So like
Oh, yeah,
Abby
I like it really
wants to burn
hot.
her skin off while she's taking a
Yeah,
shower,
so does
and I
he.
love my skin enough to not put the water scalding hot.
like, are
so
you
it's
okay?
great. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I get like red. Like when
Yeah,
I
he
come out, I'm
comes
so
out of the
red.
shower like a tomato. I'm like, you didn't just get clean because you were sweating the whole time. Like, what?
I want it like steaming in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm like
It's
literally like
crazy.
sweating. Like I want to sweat like in the shower, like sauna vibes. No, I love it. Right now we have like a tiny shower because like we're still living in like my old bedroom, so it's like I mean we've obviously she's remodeled the whole thing because I just had like one pillow and like mattress on the
It's
ground.
so funny. He
And
had
so
0 decorations. He had one picture, but he used that picture to cover the window because the window was too bright and he couldn't be bothered to go buy curtains. So the room looks completely different now. But yeah, the bathroom it's a nice bathroom, but it's definitely like a guest bathroom or like a child's bedroom.
it's a small bathroom,
Yeah.
but we make it work.
Perfect.
But we're gonna hopefully within the next year we'll get into a house of our own.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like right now it's like in Dallas it's so hard. Like me and my brother still want to. We have to like we just have to be next to each other. Like we were even talking about it the other
They have
day. I was
issues
like,
with
dude,
leaving each other.
if we get 2 houses like right next to each other, and I open my window in the morning and you open yours and I see you, it's just gonna be like this like,
Oh my gosh.
hey man.
So
Nice to
sad.
see
Y'all
you
can
over
love each
there.
other from afar though. Like I think
No, it's just like we've lived together our whole life. Like we moved to LA together, we moved to Dallas together, like, and we obviously grew up together. So it's like just not being able to be like, hey, you want to play Smash Bros? Hey, you want to play Apex? Hey, what do you think of this idea? Hey, let's step
Yeah.
out on the porch and talk about this idea or whatever it is. Like we just can't. It's just
I
like,
can
As
tell
a
you
mom
guys are
of
brothers.
2 boys, it's very heartwarming for me. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I hope my boys are that close.
yeah, we're like extreme. I mean, obviously, like sometimes we want to kill each other, but normally we don't really fight. I feel like we don't really fight. We only fight over stuff that's like dominant stuff. You know, it's like, oh, I get up and he sits in my chair, and it's like I was sitting there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
stupid.
Get up
stuff,
and give me
yeah.
my chair back, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna give you your chair. Like I'm sitting here now.
I think their main problem is that they work together too. And so if one of them's at their house and the other one's at the other house at 9 p.m., how are they going to talk about a thumbnail? I'm like, well, you can call each other. They're like, no, you don't
No, it's not
understand. The
the
back
same.
porch is where we go to talk about thumbnails. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
It's just not the same. It's just not. Well, we'll see. I think there's gonna be huge benefits to it. Obviously, like there's gonna be parts of it that I'm gonna love, but there's also parts of it that I'm just like,
You're like-
man, I hate to let it go. It's like the end of an era.
Matt,
Aw.
tell them how much you loved living with your life alone. How you
Oh,
could just
yeah.
walk in
No,
the
it's
kitchen
good.
and it would just be the two
Oh
of
yeah,
you.
it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, see?
living alone is great. Yeah, no, I think like
I'm confused by his reaction.
Yeah, it's good.
sorry, I'm trying to help you out.
So suspicious.
No, I'm sorry. No, we've never lived with other people. Well, I'm actually lying right now. Wow, Abby's parents live with us, but what am I doing right now?
He lived just the 2 of us for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in the beginning stages of your marriage, it's
Yeah.
like a pivotal moment. Like, you kind of need your own space, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
there.
No, it'll
Yeah.
be really good to have your own space.
It'll be really
it really
good.
will.
No, yeah, there's definitely parts I'm excited about, but there's other parts that I'm just like, it's just like we have such like last night we had family dinner, like everybody's down there, like we
Yeah.
eat together, like we're always
Yeah.
together. I mean, there's just you walk in and you're just laughing because of what this person's doing, like you're just always.
There's something special about
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
having like community like that.
And once we like start a family, I think it'll be different because we're still gonna have that.
Yeah.
But just like us two alone, I feel like was it different once you guys had kids? Were you guys like, oh, this is just like, it's just more of a community, like more of a family unit? Like, were you bored when it was just you two? Because I feel like with kids, you can't be bored.
Well, actually, when it was just the 2 of us, we are the type of people that would invite people over like every night, like to have dinner.
Okay.
Like his
Yeah.
brother lived close to us. Him and his wife still do. Like we would have them over like all the time. When we lived in Hawaii, we were really close friends with our neighbors. We ate dinner with them every single night. Like
Really?
we would
That's
always
awesome.
like find people. But yeah, it was. I don't think it was like boring. It was like really special, and I look back at that like in a sweet way. But then there's a lot of benefits to like always having someone home.
Yeah.
It's really fun now too. So I don't know. There's good things about both, but I think especially when you're like newlyweds, that's like a time to like
Yeah.
have your space, maybe.
yeah, I'm
if
glad you
can.
agree with me.
No, I am excited to get. To
Are
get
you
a house,
guys
but-
actually looking at houses?
Yeah, we haven't really. I don't think we're gonna buy a house. We're probably gonna build a house because me and my brother, we gotta be next to each other.
So it's like you're gonna have to start from scratch.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to
Oh, you're
build
building 2 houses at the same time next to each other.
right next to each other.
They want to do that with a warehouse type building so that they can have the studio for like the podcast and the club shoots, like just a bigger area and storage. our house, the storage is crazy because there's just so many props in what we do.
Yeah.
And we throw a ton away, but there's still, like, the garage is filled to the max.
Yeah.
So,
like, y'all's podcast is like definitely more like kind of like relaxed compared to ours. I feel like ours is a little chaotic. And so like right now there's a hole in our wall that's like this big from our podcast.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's just like stuff just happens like on the
Stuff
episode.
just happens.
Yeah. Like she threw a pumpkin through the wall. Cash punched the wall the other day. I fire extinguished Cash on the podcast the other day. There's just stuff that happens like all the time.
Yeah.
And doing it in your house is like, the entire house was covered with this fire extinguisher dust, like that thick, like all the way down, like in the kitchen, into the pantry. Like everything was covered. It was crazy.
How
That
did you
was a
clean
rough-
that?
You actually used a fire extinguisher, like you used one in the house.
A full one, like just sprayed him completely.
Isn't that dangerous?
Oh, we couldn't breathe. We had to all leave the house.
Aren't
yeah,
the
'cause
chemicals?
It was so much.
I'm sure
I
there's
don't
some
know.
harmful chemicals in that, right?
Probably. But the worst part really was the clean. Like we had to hire like multiple people to come over and just like help clean the house because it was so thick everywhere. Just
That's
this
a
dust.
rough day for me for sure because I'm new to the whole social media thing. And so when things like that happen, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. And our bedroom is right next to where we shoot the podcast. And so like little dust particles have like now covered every single new item that I got from my registry. And I'm like, everything is destroyed.
That is tough.
Did you know you were signing up for that when you got married?
I didn't know the fire extinguisher was part of the deal, but yeah, I knew the podcast and everything that came along with it. And they're crazy just on their own. Even if they didn't have the podcast, I feel like those two guys would just destroy a house anyways, just for fun. But
I want to talk a little bit about the wedding because I saw a couple clips from it. It looked beautiful.
oh, I thought it was. Yeah.
And was it pretty big? It looked like there's a lot of people.
There were
like right at 200.
like
Okay.
a little over 200,
Yeah.
like 230. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
Cash was your best man.
Yeah.
That speech was insane.
Oh.
Oh, you watched the speech.
Yes, I
Oh.
watched this speech.
We'll
That
have to
wedding
show
speech
y'all
was crazy.
his speech after this. We can't, unfortunately, share it on camera, but we'll have to show you it afterwards.
Yeah.
You gave a speech?
is
I gave a
little-
speech at Cash's wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yours was crazy?
Yours
Mine
was-
was worse than Cash's.
Oh, couldn't
No.
be aired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's when we were like, oh, this was really funny. We should, and we filmed that one. We were like, we want to post it, but it was like a little too much that we were like, we can't post this.
Okay.
Yeah. We were like, we can't post
In
this.
front of how many guests?
His had like 170 maybe.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And the thing was like, I didn't know any of her family or anything, but nobody was really upset about it. But there was definitely some jokes in there that like, I can't even really talk about them, but it was so funny. It was so funny.
Yeah.
What do your parents think? Are they like, oh my, or are they just kind of used to how your guys' humor?
Yeah, I mean, my dad knew it was coming because right before I went out, I was like, hey, there's a joke in here about you and mom. And before I say this, I got to get like some sort of green light. And he's like, I wouldn't do that. And I was like, you didn't say no. He's like, I would not do that. And then he just left. I was like, okay.
You're like, that wasn't no.
No, I think it's yes. Oh yeah, I did it. It was good, but I feel like Cash's was almost better just because he kissed the grandma in the
Yeah.
wedding speech, which was like
She's
crazy.
a good sport.
My grandma
Yeah.
is so funny anyways. She's like, I think she's about to be 80 and she still like dances in the kitchen and like when she's in her socks, she'll run and slide across the floor. So
Aw.
she's just hilarious and she's just a big ball of energy. And whenever I told her before, I was like, I don't know what he's going to do, but he told me he's going to say something to you. So I'm sorry.
Oh, she had no idea.
She had no idea,
she didn't
yeah.
know what he was going to do. And she was like, oh, it's okay. It'll be just fine. It's going to be hilarious. I'm like, okay, if you say so.
And he kissed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just making out with her grandma right in front of everybody. This is it was funny, but it was horrible.
No,
That's not okay.
I think what shocked me most was Cash's sex joke with like, yeah, your
My
mom
parents?
and your parents.
Yes.
The one about your parents.
It just
but-
wasn't a joke, and that was what was so sad about it.
You're like, this was just
Yeah.
reality.
No, he legit thought that too. Like he thought when my parents were so yeah. So my mom obviously like she prayed, like she was always praying. She'd go out in the yard and like set a blanket out and like just pray and do her Bible
Aw.
studies and stuff like that. And she'd cry a lot of times when she would pray. And I mean, as a kid, like we were just like, oh, mom's just crying, praying.
Mom's
Like,
just crying.
we don't really know. And so yeah, at night, things sound similar to crying sometimes. And he just thought, oh, mom's just praying. And he had the room right next to theirs, and he was like, "Man, mom prays all night. Like
Bro,
this is
that's why you
crazy."
guys, that right there is why you guys need to get out of the house with everyone else living in it.
Dude, I mean, it's not really a problem. I don't like. Here's the thing: is like if Cash and Kate are like doing something, like I just don't care. Like I'm just like, oh, like door
It's
shut.
because he has a man mindset. They just don't care about anything.
Yeah, it's like oh, whatever. Like, you go have your fun. Like, well, I'll see you in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever.
I don't feel the same way about that one.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, there's something weird. Like, we had some neighbors at one point that were like, we heard everything.
Really?
And
From
we're
a
like,
house
and we're
away?
like,
Oh no.
Wait, were y'all in a house?
Stop.
Wait, they were the house over? No.
We didn't have AC, so you had to always have the windows
yeah,
open.
you always have the
houses
windows
are really
open there.
close
Yeah,
together.
close houses,
Oh,
and
no.
they
We're
were like,
not
no,
crazy.
yeah, that was we're kind of crammed in there like sardines.
Yeah.
So
Moving. This is about you guys. So. I like hearing y'all's stories.
Wait, have you guys been caught?
no. I mean, like, what? Unless you consider like
Not
that
just like-
being caught, but like,
No.
what do you mean caught?
Like somebody walk in on
No.
you or
Oh
something?
no. Has that happened to you guys?
No.
No.
Thank the Lord.
I would be like, we're done. We're moving out. It's over. I don't care if you love your brother that much. We're gone.
I would need like a 5-year hiatus from seeing that family member. You know?
Yeah. It's like,
We're not seeing each other. We're not talking to each other.
nothing
Yeah,
can
no.
happen at this
Dude, I
point.
just
Yeah.
know Cash though. If he walked in, he'd just be like, I don't know. He'd just be like cheering on or something. He would just he'd like walk out and just be like, yeah.
No.
He makes everything a joke.
That's
okay.
hilarious.
Switch the topic.
Okay.
Is this what y'all's podcast is? You guys just talk about sex? Is that what this is?
I mean, it comes up.
Sometimes,
decent
yeah.
amount.
Sometimes
Really?
it comes up. You know, it just depends on the conversation.
It
Depends on-
just comes up in everyday life.
Is it
for us
when
a
views
lot,
are down?
honestly.
You're like, oh, we gotta talk about sex.
I'm like, no, there's a line. There is definitely a line. So the wedding, what was planning like? You only had 3 months to get that
It
together.
was crazy. And the reason we did 3 months, because he was all about 3 months. He was for it. But I was like, this is insane. Can't plan a wedding in 3 months. But the venue that we wanted, it was either then or wait a year and a half. And I was like, I'm not waiting a year and a half. So
Yeah.
we had to grind on that. But everything kind of fell into our laps, honestly. I feel like my wedding dress, it wasn't supposed to be ready until like a month after the wedding. And then the next day they called and they were like, actually, we can have it 3 weeks before. And I was like, okay, like I'll sign the check, let's go. And then the flowers, the lady who owns the venue, she has a best friend who does flowers, and she reached out to us, and so we ended up going with that. The only thing that was a little difficult was the food, but because Maverick's a little picky, and also
I didn't care though.
Just fries
He
and
didn't
chicken
care.
tenders only. Is that?
we were gonna do that
No,
actually.
I was
we were gonna
literally
do that.
I had like contacted Canes, and Canes was like down to do it. Like they were gonna do the whole catering for the wedding.
Yeah.
But they ended up being like, hey, like we can't really do that many people without doing like a food truck. And then I talked to the venue, and the venue's like, no, like it would take hours for people to go through the
Yeah.
food truck and like get all their food, because you got to have everybody get their food pretty quick and then
Yeah.
like everybody sit down.
Okay.
And so that didn't work. But they were Canes was ready to cater the whole thing, chicken tenders and fries.
Yeah.
I was like, that'll be dope.
Yeah.
We had friends that did that for their wedding. They actually did like a carnival theme. They got a
Okay.
a Ferris wheel.
Oh, wow.
That they had at their wedding. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that's
know
And
it.
they had
crazy.
canes.
They had
They-
Canes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
I'm
just
not-
thought it'd be such a cute picture of us like eating canes in like a wedding dress and his tux. I was
Cute.
like, that'd be so cute, but it didn't happen. That's okay.
You found a caterer.
Yes, it's crazy. You put the word wedding next to anything and it's now 10 times more expensive.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's insane. But the caterer we chose was on the cheaper end of all the ones that we found, which
It was still crazy.
It was still crazy expensive, but it tasted phenomenal.
That's
And
good.
I would not change it.
Yeah.
He might change it. He didn't eat anything, but
The
he's
wedding
fine.
planning was hard, but it was, I mean, it's really, I feel like as hard as you make it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when
That's
you're planning
true.
a wedding, it's like you can sit there and like go over like every little thing, like what the knives are going to be, what forks you're going to use, or you can just make a decision, just go.
Whose
Yeah.
idea
You know what I
was
mean?
it to get like to go from dating to engage, like all that process in 6 months?
We kind of glossed over the proposal.
Yeah, we did. But I'm curious, like whose idea was that?
Well,
I think it
kinda
was
led the
mutual,
charge?
but he definitely led the charge on that.
yeah, I mean, I was just kind of like, I mean, I told her like before we even started dating, really, I was like, I don't want to date very long. There's no point. If like as soon as I know like I want to get married, like I didn't see any point like waiting.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, like this is probably going to be like anywhere from 3 months to like 7 or 8 months, and then like we'll be engaged. Like if
Yeah,
we date.
He was like, either we're going to date for like a month and it's not going to happen and I'll not see you again, or it's going to be 3 or 4 months and I'm going to know and then we're going to get engaged. So he definitely had that mindset going into it.
That was hard though, planning the engagement, because I planned like it was a surprise engagement, and it was like I did like a whole video for it and stuff, and that was hard to do, like to plan like a whole. I mean, you guys know from planning videos, like trying to plan a video behind your spouse's back, like while they're there all the time. and then like get them there and surprise them and everything work out good. It was so difficult.
I realized I was so excited to get engaged, and I was like, we're engaged. And then like that next week, I realized how many people in my family lied to me, and I was like, oh, you were liars. Like, I can't trust anybody anymore. He lied so much.
So much. I was lying every day.
He told me he was making a music video, but he sent me the song for the music video, and I was like, this is kind of a horrible song. Like, this is
Did you make a whole song?
He made a whole new song.
I made a whole
To
fake
throw her
song.
off?
Yeah.
Oh, you made a fake
I
song.
made a
Yeah,
fake
it was
song.
so sad.
It
It
was
was
like-
like, I hate you or something. It was crazy.
It was pretty mean, and she was like, I mean, I don't think it's a very kind song, but like it's fine. Like if you, yeah.
Oh.
I was like, this is gonna be a horrible music video, but whatever. And then I was supposed to be in the music video, and so was Kate, our sister-in-law, and we were both supposed to wear white dresses. And just conveniently, the day of, she was like, "Oh no, my dress got stained in the wash. I don't know what happened." She went all out for this. Like, she actually stained her dress. And I was like, oh, you actually stained your dress. And then she took me to the mall, and we shopped for like 2 hours for a dress. And I was like, this girl is so picky. And I've only known Kate at that point for like 4 months. And I was like, I can never go shopping with her again. Like,
Aw.
this is insane. Because I would pick something up, I'd be like, it's perfect, right? And we're like 2 hours away till we have to be at the video shoot. And she's like, no, not that one. I'm like, girl, just pick a dress.
She's lying for 2
and we're like
hours
texting
straight.
her like, keep stalling, like we're not ready. And so she's just like taking her dress, and so she's believing it because she's like, okay, well I guess she really stained her dress, and I guess she really like needs a white dress. So
And I was like, there's no way he's going to propose to a song that says, I hate your guts, or whatever it says. I was like, he's not doing that. I'll be kind of sad.
Thank you to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. Do I sound like Ryan Reynolds?
I feel like when you read that, I'm envisioning Ryan Reynolds, because when I think
Thank
of
you.
Mint Mobile, I just think of him. I can't believe, though, that Mint Mobile is offering $15 a month.
Yeah, all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan.
I don't know how they can offer unlimited for $15 a month. That doesn't make sense.
It's amazing. Well, we know it works because our sister-in-law used it to set up her phone. It was so easy to use. She said she did it in just a couple taps to purchase the plan, and it was super easy to activate using an eSIM card, and she did it all from sitting on her couch. They took something that used to be so overwhelming, costly, and confusing and made it just so user-friendly and affordable. And all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts.
Yeah.
So that's nice. You're not switching your number. You're not losing all your contacts.
Exactly.
You don't have to get a new phone even.
Yeah.
You can just do it all for just $15 a month with their premium wireless service. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/unplanned. That's mintmobile.com/unplanned. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/unplanned. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabyte on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Might as well give it a try, you guys. See if you can save some money.
The way the video is, there's like a half circle of cars, and then we have a bunch of our friends, because we like to dance a lot. A bunch of our friends are also dancers, and so they're dancing in a circle, and me and Mav get in the circle to start dancing, and he's like slowly going towards the middle, and I was like, Mav, don't do this, please, because it's just like you to want to be in the center and just be like the main point of attention.
Of my
And,
own music video?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
no,
kinda
please,
crazy.
please, and he was like, Kenzie, just go with it. I was like, oh, fine. Okay, I won't ruin the video for you. I'll just keep going. And so we're dancing in the middle.
He said it's just like you.
And then his friend Chase, who is our videographer, starts like yelling out all these commands that don't make any sense to me, but they had all been practicing before I got there, and I didn't know that. So everyone just kind of like vanished, or they like went to the side, and then we were still dancing, and I was like, oh no, I'm really the center of attention. This is not good. But then he gets down on one knee, and I was like, oh, it's so exciting. And then my family was hiding behind the cars in the background. So
That is
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Perfect.
That's a grand gesture.
Yeah,
That
it
is-
was
Yeah,
a
you
lot.
should be thankful.
I am so thankful, so grateful for you.
Did you guys, hold up, did you guys kiss when you got engaged? Because I think, didn't Cash and Kate
Yeah.
kiss when they
They
got
did.
Dude,
engaged?
that was
Yeah.
so gross. It's like on film. And like I never saw them kiss, and Kate was always like, I mean, she was just always there. Like she was always like a part of our life. And so it was like they were just like brother and sister almost to me. And so then it's like at the engagement they kiss, and they're just like, I'm like, oh, it just looked wrong. Because I was like, it literally felt
You're
like my
like, "Kate's
sister
our
and brother.
sister."
Yeah. I was like, stop kissing your sister, man. It was crazy. But no, we didn't kiss at ours. No.
So you like straight up didn't kiss the whole like engagement?
No, didn't kiss at
dating.
all.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
But we had a shorter engagement, and like it was only 6 months.
Yeah.
You know.
It still felt like forever, I think, personally, but
We're like
did,
kisses
yeah.
on the cheek. Okay.
Yeah,
we
we kissed
did
on the
kiss on the
cheek.
cheek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we didn't want to make out or anything because we were both like, hey, like with sexual boundaries and stuff, we were like, it just for us, we were like, that's probably gonna like start to like lead us down like where we don't want to go, because it's like so easy, especially when you're dating and it's new and it's like you're just in love and you just want to like be with the person, to just like get carried away. And we were like, hey, like let's like just try to put those barriers in place so we don't. And it helped a lot. And
we actually talked about that before like officially dating, because we knew that in previous relationships we'd crossed boundaries that we didn't want to and we were a little bit ashamed of, and so we kind of laid it all out on the line. We're like, hey, even though kissing is not inherently bad, we're going to draw this line far away from the boundary that we don't want to cross, so that way we don't even touch it with our toe. Like, we don't want to get close at all. So let's just draw this line in the sand. It'll keep us from getting even close.
Yeah.
And I don't regret a thing. I think it was sweet to have our, even though it's kind of weird probably to have our first kiss in front of 200
I feel like
people.
it's kissing in front of people is just weird regardless.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like when you're like up there and everybody's like, and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna kiss now. Like,
I feel like we kiss in front of people a lot.
That's true. I do love some good PDA.
We're
every
kind
now
of
and then.
PDA.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We kind of always have.
Kind of.
Oh well.
Well, I feel like
the
that,
weirdos.
I remember, yeah, because like your parents kiss in front of us. My parents kiss
Sure.
in front of
No,
us.
a kiss is fine, but like a lip lock, like making out.
No, yeah, that's
like,
way
Did
too
you
much.
guys
Yeah.
lip lock in front of everyone at your
I
wedding?
mean, at your wedding, like you're kind of like we kissed for like 4 seconds.
Oh, you
I
guys,
think
you
we
timed
kinda
it.
kissed
Okay.
for a
Something like
while.
that,
No,
yeah.
we didn't time it.
1 Mississippi, 2, no,
No, but is our music, or not music video, is our wedding video out?
no, it's not. No.
Well,
Oh.
whenever it does get posted, y'all be able to see, like, I don't know if he cut it out, but I kind of hesitated. I like backed up and I was like, whoa. And I was like, wait, okay, this is okay now. I can do this again.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it was kind of funny to look back and be like, oh, whoopsies, I didn't mean to do that.
Did you guys ever have like a slip up with kissing while you were waiting to kiss till marriage?
We
No.
didn't kiss on the mouth ever, but our
There was
kisses
like
on the
1 or
cheek
2
turned
times
turned
I like went in to kiss her just like out of instinct. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're my girlfriend. Like, I'm just gonna kiss you.
Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
like, what are you about to do? I was like, oh, sorry.
My bad.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I have to know, what were your parents' first impressions of Mav?
I think they really liked Mav. It was more the social media that they were weary of.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Which,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I didn't know that.
You didn't know they were weary of social media?
I mean, I assumed they probably didn't really know what it like entailed. They probably were like, does he make any money?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
They were like, well, does this guy really have like a drive in life, or
Like a
is he just
job?
posting videos on social media? Because to them, they have no clue what it is. They don't have social media at all. They don't have
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, nothing. And so my dad now has TikTok though to watch me.
Ha.
He calls me all the time to tell me how unfunny my videos are, how they could be funny if I just did X, Y, or Z.
Oh
I'm like,
my
okay,
gosh.
thank you, Dad. Which I kind of love, honestly. But no, at the beginning they were very, very weary of like, okay, is this a real job? Because also we were talking about me stopping my current
Oh,
job.
yeah.
And my dad's like, you just went through 4 years of college and now you've
Yeah.
had this really good job for 2 years and you're just going to let it all go. It's like out the window. Everything you've done in your life is just gone. I'm like, no, you're not looking at it the right way, because this is a full-time job. And really, because I did marketing and finance, and I was like, those 2 things actually, crazy enough, helped me so much in the social media sphere. So I kind of outlined it that way of like, hey, it's a real job. I showed him like view numbers and like what that actually means behind the scenes. And after like two months or so, he was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, I understand
still think they
now.
know a lot though.
They
Like,
don't know a lot anymore. No.
Like, and I feel
but-
like a lot of people don't. But like especially like even as a YouTuber for a long time, I didn't, or before we did YouTube, when I was just doing like TikTok and stuff, like people don't understand like how much money is in YouTube, and it's crazy. And it's like, it just blows my mind still today. I'm like, this doesn't feel real. Like, it's just such a blessing.
Yeah. Well, outside of like money, but like your drive to get things done. Like you and Cash are always like go, 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 very business mindset. You're not just posting videos just to be self-centered and be like, oh, look at me. You have a mind and a goal behind it.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, our goal, which, I mean, you guys probably have similar goals, or I don't know, but like eventually we want to be like out of the podcast probably and out of like the space and still have like a brand or something that like continues on a little bit, is like the goal. Are you guys planning on doing anything like that? Or are you guys just like, we're taking this podcast to the grave?
Oh, wow. I don't know, dude. That's crazy. I think I've been having a lot of fun doing the podcast. So I want to keep continuing with it. But yeah, I don't know. We've definitely thought of different ideas we could play with as far as creating a product. But whenever we do that, I want it to be really good. And I don't want to just like do something quickly. Like I want it to be something that's really going to change people's lives
like
for the better.
Yeah.
Something that we've like put a lot of work into.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why we haven't done something like that yet, because whatever it is, I want it to be really good.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not really, I mean, we've talked about products and we have like some stuff like that we'll be launching, but it's not like that's like what's going to like sell things. It's just like stuff that we're like, some of our fans would probably really enjoy these things. But what I mean is more like an unplanned like label, or like an unplanned like, maybe you guys have other podcasts like under you, you know what I mean? Like you raise up talent under you or something, you know what I mean? Stuff like that is like what we're looking at, of doing like an LOL Studio brand or something that, you know, we help bring other people up that have potential but don't have like a platform, and like bring them on the podcast, integrate them in, and maybe they have their own shows or whatever. Yeah. Things like that.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. That's cool that you guys are like forward thinking like that.
Yeah. But all that to say, like after explaining that to my parents, which my mom is like, if you truly think that this guy is like a man of the Lord and y'all have the same beliefs and y'all truly align in all these characteristic traits and values and morals, then go for it. But my dad was more like, is he going to be a provider? Is he going to protect you?
Yeah.
And so the forward thinking that you just said, like, that's what really got my dad to be like, okay, like, I'm here for it then.
Yeah, I think they like me now.
Oh yeah, they love him now.
Was it hard for you guys? Like when you were like,
Transition
hey, I'm going to
was-
go propose, Dad.
We definitely had some challenges there, but I think it was, for us at least, because the turnaround wasn't 6 months. I think we had a little bit more time to work
they were
with
like,
our parents.
Yeah, it's about time, son.
I think ours was more so like our age. Like we were really young.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, wait a minute. Like,
Were your parents like freaked out?
yeah.
Really?
To say the least. They were like, they like loved Matt, and they
And
knew
you were
that
20?
he was gonna make a great. Well, I got engaged at 19.
19.
And so they like loved Matt, knew that he'd be my husband one day, but they're like, just wait a minute, like slow down.
That's how my dad was up until like a week before
What's
the
a
wedding.
rush? Yeah.
He was like, 6 more months, Kenzie. What's the problem? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't understand. I want to do it now.
Aw.
Yeah.
Talk to me more about the no kissing thing, because I feel like that's so rare, especially in our world today. Did you guys have any people that were like, whoa, that's so cool that you're doing that? Or did you have people that were saying, oh, why are you doing that? Like, tell me more about the feedback from like friends, family.
Sure.
I'm so curious.
I mean, there was definitely some family members. Like my dad was like, don't do that, son. He's like, that's a horrible idea. And I was like, well, you know, like it's something me and her decided like we're going to do it. So we're going to do it. And he's like, what if she kisses like your mom? I was like,
He
was
said
like-
that word for word, and I was like, what?
I said,
She kisses your mom.
what? I said, first off, I don't know if you like kissed your mom a lot and you were worried about that, but that's not a fear of mine. I haven't kissed mom like that. And two, like that's your wife, Dad. Like, what do you mean? What if she kisses like my mom?
That's funny.
And so like there was definitely some people that were like thought it was weird. Some people thought it was cool, but ultimately we weren't really doing it for other people and we didn't really care.
Yeah.
It was just more of like I guess our whole life is on social media, so like we obviously put it on there. But yeah, we weren't really doing it for like other people necessarily to think it's like cool or to like get feedback or anything. But there was definitely some people that were not.
I think
like,
both
for
of
it.
our moms weren't against us not kissing, but they were very much so like, why would you not? Do you not love each other? Or just getting married just because?
Yeah, they're like, is there a spark? Like you don't even know like if there's any.
Both of our moms were
attraction.
like,
Like,
y'all
what?
don't
Yeah.
love each other if y'all are not kissing. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes, we do. No, yeah, there are definitely like people who comment. They're like, this is so like non-Christian, and I'm like, okay, well, commenters are gonna comment, so whatever. But as far as our people our age, like our community groups, they were very for it. They were like, no, go, like, do, like, you don't need to be kissing and stuff for marriage. Like, you don't have to write it before you buy it or whatever they say. So
Did that make it tricky though? Because like you're literally going from not kissing to on the wedding night, like literally doing everything. So was it?
No,
was
because,
it?
like-
Was it weird? Like trying to tell your brain, hey, okay, recalibrate. now this is all okay? Like, so walk me through that process.
It did feel a little weird. Like, it's like not weird, but I mean, even I feel like that's for every couple though. If you wait till marriage, it's like they're like, oh, I don't have to go to the closet to change. I can just change right here if I want.
Yeah.
Like, there's always that like kind of weirdness. I feel like at first, but no, it didn't feel weird because it's like that whole time. As I assume the same for you guys. Like, it's like you're looking forward to it, and like you both know it's coming, and you're both like you're excited about it. Like, it's not something that maybe you were nervous, but like I wasn't nervous. I was just like, oh, like I'm excited to like get to be intimate with you and like have that relationship. And so I wasn't really like nervous about like, oh, how do I kiss or anything like that. Like, I went through high school. Like, I've kissed girls before. She's kissed guys before. Like, we know how to kiss. That wasn't the problem. It's just like, hey, to prevent us from going further down the line than we want to before marriage, let's not kiss. But we still like had that same like, I don't know, like affection for each other on the wedding night. It didn't really change anything.
I thought I was gonna be nervous or scared, especially like growing up with people who waited, and they've all had kind of stories of, oh, it's like you have to flip a switch, and it just feels weird because before you're taught this is bad, and now all of a sudden it's good.
That's crazy.
I
don't feel like that at all.
Well, his parents were very verbal about how much they loved each other, but I don't like.
They prayed a lot.
They did pray a lot, apparently. But no, I don't think that I felt that way the night of. If anything, I was just excited. I really thought I was going to be nervous.
Was it awkward for you guys? Or were you guys like, oh?
No, I've just heard those stories. Like, like
I
if
think
you
that's
have
the fear that other people that didn't do that choose to do that.
Sure. For us, like we weren't doing the no kissing thing. So for us, it wasn't like we were that far removed from like actual sex.
Yeah.
So I feel like to go that far away from it, I don't know. I just imagine in my brain, I would be like, I don't know. It'd be really hard to recalibrate is what I'm saying. And I've heard that from other people. So I guess I'm like shocked that for you guys, it wasn't that way at all, which I'm like so happy for you guys that it wasn't a challenge. Cause that would suck if your brain's telling you this is bad, but then it's okay, you know?
Well, I think we were still very attracted to each other, and it wasn't that we didn't want to. It was just that we put that boundary in place. Yeah. And thank goodness it wasn't more than 6 months, because we probably would have crossed the boundary that we didn't want to if we were have waited, because we were so attracted to each other.
It was difficult.
It wasn't a switch in our mind of, okay, now I'm allowed to be attracted to this person, and now I can be physically intimate with them, because we did like I think Maverick is very much so for PDA, and I'm very much so somebody who's like, don't touch me, like I'll hug you whenever I'm saying goodbye, but like I'm just like, if me and my friends are sitting on the couch like watching a movie, I'm not a girl to like cuddle with another girl, like it's just not me. But as soon as I started dating Maverick, I don't know why, the switch flipped and just felt comfortable, and now PDA is an okay thing to an extent. But no, I think because we were so like physically intimate without crossing severe boundaries, it was easy, at least for me, to move on to that next stage.
I mean, I think it's like it wasn't a bad experience for us. I would encourage other people to do it, honestly, just because it's like, if you're dating someone and they're like wanting to just do things all the time and like pursue that lifestyle of like, hey, let's make out, and like maybe they're trying to even go further than that, it's like, hey, like if you're gonna get married, like you want to make sure you're marrying someone, I feel like, that doesn't just love you for X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to wait for you, at least in some context. You know what I mean? To have that marriage with you, and not just be like, oh, I met you and you're beautiful and like let's make out. You know what I mean?
I think it honestly helped us in like establishing those main pillars, and why we were able to do it so quickly too, is because we weren't focused on like the drug that you were talking about of love. Like, yes, we loved each other, but not in a sense of like, oh, I just want to make out with you all the time. Like, I'm so super attracted to you. Yeah. We were so focused on, okay, here's my morals, here's your morals. Do they align? And what does that look like in the future when we combine our lives together? Yeah. We were so focused on having conversations like that instead of spending an hour and a half being physical with each other. And it just like excelled our relationship so much faster than if we were to be physical with each other.
Totally. No, it's interesting too, because there's actually data to back up like, and this is even stricter than what you guys did, but literal arranged marriages where people in other countries.
I said I wish I was born married.
That's great. He's like, I hate being single. I hated dating. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
No, but like I think something, and I would have to do a deeper dive into this. I'm not, my job isn't like looking at data on marriage, but from what I've understood, in these cultures, there's also, it's like very against culture for divorce to be a thing. So then I'm also
Sure.
like, are these
How much
couples
does that
staying
affect?
together because they're afraid of, being ostracized if they do
Yeah.
get divorced? So it's like, yeah, the data does say that they stay married, but I'm like, is it a happy marriage? Is it a good marriage? Is it a healthy marriage? Because there's also a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
unhappy married couples, which is so sad. Like, I think something
True.
you'll learn the longer that you're married and you have married friends, it's sad. There are people that stay married for a really long time and they're very unhappy.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does that happen? Like, no,
that's so sad.
that's so sad. Nobody gets married thinking that they're going to be unhappily married for 30 years or
Yeah.
40 years or
Sure.
whatever. So I don't know. I'm a bit of like a data nerd. So I like to read about that stuff.
Yeah, but I want to commend you guys, like being vocal about something like that is like countercultural and in such a like eloquent way. Like it's clear you guys know your why behind it, especially
thank
when you
you.
have like an audience that's aged at like you said 15
Yeah.
and 16. That's like really cool and admirable.
Oh, thank
and
you.
like
Thank
I look
you.
up to you guys for that. Where'd you guys go on your honeymoon?
The Dominican.
Oh,
Yeah, we went down to the DR. We had a lot of fun. We went to like Monkey Island or whatever it's called, and there was just like these little squirrel monkeys that like just like attack you. Like there was like 30 of them on us at one time. It was
Probably
crazy.
our favorite part of the
That's
honeymoon.
It was so fun.
crazy.
What else we do? We went scuba diving down there.
That was
It was a lot of fun.
crazy. The regulations in different countries are crazy compared to the United States, like how strict in the United States you have to be. In the Dominican, I had been once
Yeah.
before, and I went with a group of some of my softball friends, and we went through caves and stuff. In the United States, you go through caves and they have like the railing. They're like, don't touch the walls. They have little light fixtures that people have gone in. No, when we went to the caves in the Dominican, it was like get on your hands and knees and crawl around in these caves and bats are flying at you. It was like people had clearly not gone through there, like workers, and like made it safe. It was just a cave. But that was kind of how scuba diving was for us. It was like they took us in the pool the day before
Yeah.
and kind of taught us what we were and were not supposed
Have you guys
to do.
been?
We've never done scuba diving together. I went when I was like in middle school, but Abby's claustrophobic.
I'm really afraid of that.
Yeah.
If you're claustrophobic,
Like
you would
I
not
love a good
like it.
adventure and I like want to do cool fun things, but for me the claustrophobia, I'm like I don't know if I could.
Yeah, you would not like it actually if you're claustrophobic because you go underwater and it's so unnatural to breathe underwater, and you take that first breath in, you're like, oh wait, I'm fine, I can breathe.
Yeah.
But it just feels so weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this portion of today's episode.
Whenever I need to go to the doctor now, I do my appointments through ZocDoc. They make it so simple, so easy. You can set it up right on your phone.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skincare, and much more. Matt used it for his ADHD. My sister-in-law used it to find a dentist and after moving out of state to find a dentist. We also use it with Matt's, like, not even just like well check stuff, but just like random stuff that comes up, like his concussion. Like they have, like I said, doctors across all specialties. You can do in person or you can also do online. It just makes it so much more user friendly. I feel like this should have existed a long time ago.
You don't have to drive to a doctor. You
Yeah.
don't have to wait in line or sit looking at the fish tank while you're just trying to get out of there so you can get stuff done that you have on your to-do list. It's just all on your phone. So simple, so easy.
Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. It's really nice if you are in a new area and you're like, I haven't figured out my whole network of healthcare providers. ZocDoc is for you. I use ZocDoc and you should too. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/unplanned to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/unplanned. ZocDoc.com/unplanned.
There's these little buttons on your vest that like inflate and deflate to like make you rise and
Yes.
sink, and it's like the scuba instructor or whatever is supposed to press them for you to make sure that you don't just sink all the way to the bottom, that you can like regulate and your ears don't pop and like your eardrums don't burst. And we get out there and I thought there was going to be like 20 people with us. Okay, I thought it was gonna be like a group and it was just this huge
We
excursion.
booked it through the hotel, so we thought it was
Yeah.
going to be like a big thing, right?
Yeah. But it was me and him and this one other girl who didn't speak English. And we were like, okay, maybe it's fine. It'll be all right. And we had to, which this is just me being a little bougie, I guess, but I had to carry this huge tank all the way to the ocean. And I don't know why I expected it to already be on the boat, but I like walked like half a mile with this huge tank, and I was like, okay, I'm tired. Let's go back.
Let's go back.
Yeah. But we get out there, and the scuba instructor, he was very kind, but he was talking so fast, and I was like he already knew what to do. All I knew was, don't press these buttons, breathe slow. And I was like, okay, I guess that's all I need to know. He's like, jump off the boat, go to the front, hold the rope. I was like, I know those words. I can do all those things. So all three of us jump off and we go, we hold onto the rope. Oh, another rule was don't look up because it like puts air or water in your mask or something. He was like, only look straight or you can look down. And I was like, okay, I can remember that rule too. Maverick's not freaking out at all. I'm a little bit like, oh no, gosh, I'm like in the ocean and a shark might eat me.
And this guy barely speaks English. He knows like 5 words.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so
that'd be so tricky too. And you're like, I could literally die
Yeah,
if something goes wrong.
Yeah. Oh, and the rules to like not look up, I was so in my head, I was like, I'm not looking up, because the first time I went to the beach, I was 18, and the salt water hit my eyes the first time, and I was like, I hate the beach. I hate the salt water. It burns so bad, because I didn't realize. I thought, oh, it's going to be like chlorine. It's going to burn a little bit, but salt water is a whole different level.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're in the water, and the instructor comes over to us, and I'm like looking down, like trying to follow the rules, holding this rope, and all I see are these girls' fins, the girl who was with us, and she starts like flapping, like losing her mind, just is freaking out. And I was like,
we're
oh,
like the
gosh.
surface level pretty much.
Yeah, like our heads are still like touching the oxygen, okay? And the instructor comes over and like presses my little button, and presses Maverick's button, and presses her button. The girl's still freaking out. Or we've gone like 5 feet now. She's flipping out. She's losing her mind. Can't breathe.
I feel like I can't breathe just listening to
She
this
couldn't
story.
breathe.
Well, she could breathe. She just felt like she couldn't breathe. So she was she was freaking out. And obviously you can't talk. So she's just like moving her arms, like
trying to do
flailing.
like sign language, and it wasn't working.
Yeah, so the instructor took her back up, but just left me and Maverick. But you're supposed to use those buttons to like regulate yourself and like stop yourself from sinking.
No.
But the instructor told us the day before, he was like, don't press the buttons. The instructor will do it. Whatever you do, don't press the buttons. I was like,
how deep is the water that you're in?
It's about 50 feet.
Yeah.
And so like we're at the top, and like you can barely see the bottom down there.
Yeah. And beginners aren't supposed to go below 30 feet. You have to be certified to go below 30 feet. And so we're just sinking. I was like, oh, he's going to come back soon, right?
I'm like panicking.
I'm panicking too.
Still sinking.
I'm panicking too.
So she refuses to look up. So she doesn't even really know what's happening. And I'm sitting there just like holding her, and I'm looking up, and I see them start to swim off, and I'm like, uh-oh. There goes our instructor. And we're just sinking slowly. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good.
Yeah,
This is not. And I was like, well,
I can't. I'm never going. I'm never
you're
going.
fine. No. I mean, you can't.
I don't think that's a normal thing that happens.
Yeah, you could die.
Yeah.
Are you
So
kidding me?
We're sinking, and I'm like starting to laugh a little bit, because like I know we're okay, like we can breathe, like everything's fine, but like I'm also like, dude, I can't see the boat, I can't see the instructor, I can't see anything, and we're just in the middle of the ocean.
And you're looking down. I would be like you. I'm like, I'm not looking up.
And we're way away from land, like you can't even see land. So I'm like, oh, we're just like out here in the middle of the ocean, not even on top of the ocean, under the ocean.
You couldn't even
stranded.
paddle up if you wanted to. Like,
Well, so then we're down there, and
you weigh so much, and without that air in your vest, like swimming up is like incredibly hard.
So
and
yeah, she's like sitting there and refuses to look up. It's
I've had issues
crazy.
with my ears since I was very little. I've had several sets of tubes in my ears, and so whenever I just go swimming in a regular pool, my ears will hurt sometimes. And so that's the one thing I was scared about, was going 30 feet down. I was like, oh, my ears. And Maverick's like, you're fine. Just make sure you like blow really hard and like pop your ears like you do in an airplane. Mm-hmm. And so as we're going down, I'm looking down, I'm holding Maverick's hand like a death grip, and I'm like like blowing my ears out as hard as I can. I'm like, we're gonna die. It's over. So we get to the bottom, and I swear we're like
you're
those
at bottom.
We're at the bottom of the ocean.
Well, our feet are touching the ocean
50
floor.
feet.
Yeah.
You guys
Yes.
went all the way down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm looking around, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? I was like, because I've been scuba diving. I'm like, this is not
How
right.
long did it take? Like, how long has it been since you've
only
seen
like
the instructor?
20 seconds.
Yeah.
So
but
like
it
we
happens
saw
so quick.
him, but then as we start going down, like he disappears and he's swimming off with the girl.
Okay.
And we're like, okay. And then I'm looking, and we're like halfway down by that point, and I'm like, oh, we're still going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I know what these buttons do. I'm a professional. I can figure this out.
No.
We're like sitting on the ocean floor now for probably like 30 seconds.
And you can't talk.
You can't talk.
You can't talk.
We're just like
And-
making signs, like, are you okay? Your ears, like things like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I swear we're like those little
like laughing. I'm, like,
figurines in
trying
like a
not to laugh.
fish bowl, just standing on the ocean floor, like what's happening? But Maverick starts trying to touch my buttons, and then the day
She's freaking out. She's like, get off
don't
my buttons.
touch my buttons. Because the guy the day before said, don't touch the buttons. And so I'm a rule follower.
I'm
I was
like
like, we're not
wrestling
touching
her
the buttons.
underwater, and she's only looking down too. So she's like, I'm
"No,
like, give me your buttons.
So he presses his own, and he starts to like rise up, and he's holding my hand, and I like try not to like look up. And I'm like, okay, press my buttons, and so he presses them. We go back to the top, and we like look around, and our little instructor is just on the boat, and I'm like, what the heck?
You left
Yes.
us.
And he comes back, he's like, we scuba now. I'm like, oh, we scuba now? Like, wait, you just sank us.
Just scuba. We scuba.
It was
Well, literally just
crazy.
tried to kill us.
You guys know that you're supposed to wait. I think isn't it 30 seconds or a minute per 10 feet of
Yes.
ascension?
Yeah. So your ears will
we were going
regulate.
up. I made sure we went up slow, but we were sinking fast the first time.
Did you guys?
Yeah.
So did you guys do? Is it a minute or 30 seconds to
I
go
don't
up?
remember what it is, but it's with your lungs and your ears. So as long as you're
Yeah.
popping your ears and you're breathing, like
You
you're
can get
fine.
really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get sick, and if you throw up in your mask, you can actually die.
Oh, they say if you throw up in your mask, don't take
I'm
your
also
mask
afraid of
off to like
puking.
spit it out. Just breathe through the throw up. We looked that up afterwards.
Yeah,
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
if you take your mask
Also-
off and throw up, you're instinctively like gonna suck in a bunch of water.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay,
if
no.
you just like took a deep breath at 50 feet and swam up, like your lungs would explode.
Oh,
yeah.
Because the pressure is completely different at
Yeah, you can't hold
the
your breath.
surface.
You'll
Yeah,
just
it was
pop your
scary.
lungs.
It was pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah, but it was fun. It was fun.
It was fun because we survived. But he came back down, and then we did the whole scuba thing, and that was fun. It was normal.
Did the girl
but-
just not join you for the rest of the
Oh
tour?
no, she was
No,
freaked out.
no.
She was done.
Be
Yeah.
me. I'd be like,
Man.
where's the snacks? But I just need a glass of water. That's too much.
No, it
I'm
was
glad
fun.
that you guys are alive and that you're here and you
Yeah.
survived your honeymoon and now you have a funny story you can tell everybody.
Dude,
Yeah.
And
no,
you'll tell your
legit.
kids one day.
Yeah, we'll be like, we nearly died on our honeymoon. Like, literally.
But it was
crazy.
fun though.
Okay, wait. Speaking of kids, I want to say you guys opened up on your podcast about like wanting to adopt.
Yes,
And that's
yeah.
because you don't have a uterus, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, you shared about that, and I know that was probably like something that was scary
It-
to share online.
It is a little scary to share online because people, for whatever reason, they just feel the need for like hate comments and stuff. But
No.
it turned out fine. You know, nobody really said anything hateful, and that was one of the big conversations that we had on our first
Yeah.
date, actually, which was
I was like, you're going to have to tell this on the podcast.
yeah, which I'm pretty open about talking about. It's not, I don't feel broken because of it or anything, but it was something scary to share with Maverick just because I'm like, okay, this is like a future like potential spouse.
Yeah.
He could possibly like turn away from me because of this, which is not something that is inherently like the worst thing ever, because I'm like, oh well, if he turns away, like then that's just not meant for me. Like whoever is going to be for me is somebody that is okay with adoption and not just okay with it, but super excited about it.
Yeah.
And which was a huge green flag before we even started dating. One of the reasons like I opened my heart back up to saying, okay, like maybe I'll be open to Maverick because of that. Actually, we kind of talked about adoption a little bit, and he didn't even know that I was going to adopt kids. He kind of brought it up on his own, so that was a big green flag for me. But no, yeah, sharing
Yeah.
it was.
What was that
fine.
conversation like? Because that is something like if you're very intentionally going about the dating process, that like it's
Yeah.
good that you opened up about that
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
on.
That was on our first date. We opened up. I mean, we just kind of let all the skeletons out the closet.
it was kinda
It was
crazy.
almost like because we were both very comfortable being single. We are like, hey, like we're fine being single. Like we don't need somebody to complete us. Like we're okay. But it would be nice to have somebody too. And so we were on that date. It almost felt like she was like trauma dumping on me, and I'm dumping on her. And it was like this like. You don't want me. Like, here's all my baggage. You don't want this.
Yeah.
It really did feel like that. Kind of.
And yeah, so she told me that. I told her stuff about me too, and it was just like,
Yeah. And during
it
that
was
conversation,
emotional.
I told him, I was like, hey, like, I don't want you to just off the bat be like, oh, that's okay with me because you're already kind of thinking about adoption. I want you to go home and like sleep on it, really think about it, pray about it, and make sure that you're okay with that, because that's like a big life decision for you that you've never had to think about before. And I've had people that I've dated in the past be like, oh, it's okay, but then 6 months down the road be like, oh, you know what, I don't know if that's actually what I want for my life, which is completely okay. But I don't want to go 6 months down the road and then
Yeah.
have wasted 6
Yeah.
months of my
So that
life.
was something that happened in the past, a past
Yeah.
relationship. Someone said, hey, because we can't have kids, I want to call
That
things
wasn't
off.
the full reason. Obviously, we had
Okay.
other disagreements, but that was something they were like, oh, well, here are some other options that you could possibly have kids if you do these few things.
Yeah.
Which I never was really open to. I was like, no, I'm
Gotcha.
really like dead set on adoption, regardless of being able to have kids or not. Like, that's
Got
something
it.
that I've
Yeah.
felt from a very young age.
Because she does have eggs, but she doesn't
Yeah.
have a uterus. So she would have to get like a uterine transplant or something like that, or a surrogate
Yeah.
Oh,
type
really?
situation. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so if you guys really wanted to, you could have a baby that's like completely both
Yeah,
of your
I mean,
DNA.
if we really
Yeah.
felt it on us, like we could have one of our own.
Yeah.
But we're definitely not going to start there.
Yeah.
We're at least going to start with adoption
Yeah.
and take it from there. But
That's exciting.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's really cool.
The first conversation was different though, because it was like I didn't expect it on the first date. You know what I mean? Like we're sitting there talking about it, and you know she's just like, "Hey, also I can't have kids." And when you hear that,
Wait, I think I said that because he had asked me like what changed my mind towards him. Like, why did I now open up and say, okay, hey, like, yes, I'm willing to go on a date with you, and I actually think that this is like a good thing. And that was one of the reasons. And so I was trying to like veer away from sharing that on the first date, but he kept like, with not intentionally, but kept kind of like prodding at that area. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna
Because you
lay it
guys had
out
already
there.
talked about adoption. Like it
Yeah.
had just
Yeah.
come out before you
Yeah.
even that year before.
Just in a friend group.
yeah, just
Okay,
talking.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she first said it, it was like a whoa, because like even though I wanted to adopt, being told like, hey, you can't have kids. Is like a scary thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's heavy. Like it's not a decision that you want to make
Yeah.
lightly. And on the first date, like there's no like for both of us there was no like commitment there, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we can both go our separate ways and like I can go find somebody else eventually and she'll find somebody else and we'll both be happy people probably and I'll have kids with whoever, right? But after that first date there was so much stuff that I just fell in love with and she fell in love with that we were just like it doesn't matter. Like
That's really sweet.
because like we're still gonna have a family, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be a mixed family. It'll be, you know, different. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, he's so excited. He thinks he can pick his children. He's like, oh, my kids are going to be D1 so much better than Cash's kids. He's so excited about that.
That's
You're like,
funny.
okay, are these parents, are they college athletes? Like,
Yeah,
really?
no, legit. I was like being able to pick like even like you can pick your kid. Like you're like
Okay,
oh,
he's
I'm a-
completely joking, but also thinks it's funny. He's
No,
like, let me
yeah.
see their parents. Are they like a dog? Like, this is like a good breed?
What's the
Okay.
bloodline?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Any medical history we need to know about?
Yeah.
So you were like 15 or 16 when you found this out about yourself?
Yeah.
Tell me what that was like.
You know, I went to the doctor when I was, I think, about to turn 16, and I always felt like there was like something off, but everyone kind of brushed it aside. They were like, oh, it's because you're an athlete. You're just smaller. Like,
'Cause you weren't getting your period.
Yeah, you'll just start later in life. And I was like, no, I think there's something wrong, you know? And so going to the doctor the first time, I honestly kind of felt like a lab rat a little bit because I walked in and I explained like, hey, I haven't had my period. So she gave me some like hormone pills to kind of get me going, like start like anything. If there was able to have a period, she was going to start it and like make it happen. And so I did that for about a month and I came back and still hadn't had a period. So she was like, okay, like let's do some more tests. They took some blood work. They did a ultrasound. In the ultrasound, they couldn't find a uterus, but she wasn't completely sure. So they wanted to do a vaginal ultrasound. And at 15, I walked into that room to do that. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. Like, I saw that big stick and I was like, no, thank you. I'll come back way later in life. And so yeah, I was like, never mind. But from just the ultrasound, I knew that I didn't have a uterus. I just wasn't sure if I had ovaries.
Oh, okay.
And so that was the only question that I didn't know. And we didn't actually find that out until like a week before the wedding. I went back to the doctor and did some more tests, and they found out, okay, you have ovaries. You can have kids if you want, but it would have to be through a surrogate or
Was
something like
that visit to the doctor a week before the wedding in reference to like birth control?
Oh, no. It was just because I wanted to know fully, like,
Oh, okay.
what all is happening, like, what's going on. And
Okay.
Okay, like, bear with me here because I am just an ignorant man over here who doesn't, like, know the most about, like,
Oh, you're good.
you know,
You know a
female.
decent amount.
I know a decent amount, but, like,
We've had 2 babies.
I was shocked when you said you have eggs because thinking that you didn't have a uterus and
Yeah.
you having eggs, I was like, wait a second, like, don't you need the uterus to have the eggs? So how do you have eggs if you don't have a uterus? I guess is my
know,
question.
I don't know either, but the doctor kind of showed me a diagram, and I'm sure Abby would know a lot more than I do, even because I've never had to go through the period, so I never really looked into anything. But basically, your uterus is kind of like a triangle, and then
I know what the diagram looks like. Yeah,
and so then your fallopian tubes, and then your eggs. Apparently, I have those, and they release hormones. That's why I look like a girl. I am a girl, like in every other way. So they're just kind of sitting there. I don't know really what they're attached to. I didn't ask that question. Actually, I should have, I guess.
Aren't the eggs, like if you're talking about a uterus like a triangle, aren't the eggs on like the 2 points? Like if you're looking at the base of the triangle, okay, obviously the triangle's flipped upside down. Yeah. And then like the point is I don't want to, but No, so if the base of the triangle if the triangle's flipped, I'm sorry. If the triangle's flipped upside down, the 2 points of the base would be where the eggs are, right? And then they come through the uterus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay. Sweet.
From what I learned, correct me if I'm wrong, your period is, for whatever reason, I guess I understand why guys get so confused. I thought your period was like your egg dropping, but apparently an egg is like super microscopic.
She thought eggs were like a chicken egg.
Not like that big, but I just thought like your period was your egg, but it's not.
It's shedding the uterine wall, right? The lining.
Yeah.
Because that's the preparation for the baby, right? And so it's like, oh, we don't need this. Let's get rid of it.
So that was one of my questions. I'm sure the doctor thought I was so dumb, but she was so sweet and kind and was very patient with me. But I was like, where are my eggs going? She was like, oh, they're microscopic. They just like dissolve into your body. And I was like,
no way.
Okay. And she was like, you don't have a period because you don't have a uterus to like, the lining doesn't go, you don't have that, so nothing comes out. And I was like, oh, it makes a lot more sense now. Because my thought process was, my eggs aren't coming out, they're just building up in there, but that was not the case.
So when Abby and I got married, something that I told her, it was like, I thought adoption was really cool. And so I told her, I don't know if I'm that set on having our own kids, because I think people who do adopt and who do raise a child that is, not their own flesh and blood, like that is so cool, because you're giving a home to someone that otherwise would not have had a home. So mad respect for you guys. And I love all of that. I think that's so cool. But knowing that you have eggs, because you just found that out, do you have any desire, though, to see what your kids would look like?
I mean, there's like a little part of me that's like, oh, my Maverick's little children with blue eyes would be so cute. But at the same time, I think I have such a yearning to, like you said, like bring a child in that would otherwise maybe never have a parent. Maybe they'd go down the wrong path in life, and their life wouldn't be meaningless, but they'd have a really hard road to be able to get to somewhere where they're having a purpose in life. So I still feel very strongly about adoption. I don't know if we will ever have our own kids. If we did, it would probably be like 2 or 3 kids down the road, and it'd be a long conversation, and like we would think about it really hard. But as of right now, not really. Do you?
I mean, right now, like the adoption plan has just kind of been the plan. So it's like, we're probably going to do that. And like, I guess just kind of play it by ear. And, if we're like, hey, we've adopted 2 or 3 kids, like let's have one of our own, then like, I guess we will, but I don't know. We'll see. And there's always like the science behind it and everything is like always advancing. So like right now, like a uterine transplant is like pretty crazy. Yeah. But eventually they may be like, oh, like it's not that invasive. We can do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, well, maybe we'll do that. But you may be 35. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Thank you to Factor for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Lunch is the most dreaded meal of the day, even though I need it because I start to crash because I get so hungry, but it's just so hard to fit in within our busy schedules.
Well, sometimes Abby will forget to eat lunch and then she'll get a migraine. And I'm like, why did you not have a Factor meal? You can pop it in the microwave. It's in there for 2 minutes. It comes fresh, never frozen to your doorstep. And they have so many options. They have very healthy options. And the meals taste really, really good.
They have everything from vegan to pescatarian to vegetarian to protein packed, which is the ones we get. They have so many different health diet needs that you can meet, but they're all so flavorful and delicious, you guys. I love their cauliflower mashed potatoes. I love the garlic chicken thighs. They are so flavor packed, and like Matt said, they come fresh, never frozen, and you can taste that difference because it tastes like a nice dinner, but you can have it in a lunch portion and ready in 2 minutes. It could not be easier, and that's great because breakfast and dinner are already hard enough. Don't make lunch more difficult. You can even eat them for dinner too if you need. Head to factormeals.com factormeals.com/unplanned50 and use code unplanned50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code unplanned50 at factormeals.com/unplanned50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Was that tough news to hear when you were 15 or 16, or was it kind of just like you were so young that you hadn't thought about family planning as much?
Well, I had thought about adoption actually, and even before knowing all that, which is kind of like a blessing from the Lord. I think He just kind of laid that on my heart at a young age, so it was more of a joyful thing for me, at least. I think for my family members, it was more like, oh no, like poor Kenzie, like they didn't mean to make me feel kind of broken, but in a way, kind of.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was very hard for me. It was more hard that it was hard for them. But
so you say joyful. Was it because you're like, I won't have to worry about periods, or like the decision's made for me? Like,
I think I'm very indecisive to begin with. So me thinking about adoption and then the ability for God to just be like, you know what? No, that is the plan for like you are an adopt. It's like, okay, good. I don't have to make that decision. Like I am going to adopt and I can be joyful about it. And I don't have to think back and forth of should I not? It was just like,
that's such a cool perspective.
Yeah.
It is scary though. Cause like when you adopt a kid, like you really don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, kids can come with trauma. They can come with all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's scary to me because it's like you could get a kid that like, you know, has been hurt or whatever by the parents or by foster parents or anything like that. And when you adopt it, you're adopting in all those responsibilities as a parent to take care of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's like, I thought about that part. I thought, oh, like you adopt a kid and it's like, oh, kid should be pretty happy because like I adopted you, you know. But like there's like it's so different than that. Like the kids, like they're hurt. Like some of them don't even see it as probably helpful. Like they want to go back to their parents, things like that. So I don't know. I've listened to some stuff on it and read a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is like there's so many kids that need adopted. It's like, dude, like I just want to. Even if we could have our own kids perfectly right now, I know we'd start with adoption.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah. I think right now we've talked through it, and I think at first, if possible, we'd want to adopt a baby just to have that like that cool season of life that you kind of get to grow together and like grow as a family with this very newborn child. But then later in life, like maybe think about adopting maybe 4, maybe even 10 years old. But I think we'd have to sit down with other people who have already been through that, just because they do come with trauma sometimes. And I don't ever want to take in a child and be like, all right, you're good to go. Like I feed you every night and I'm going to take you to school, so you're great. Because there's a lot of buildup and trauma that's in their life that you might have to unpack with them and help take them to a counselor or whatever that might be. So I want to make sure that we're both fully prepared to take that on and help them the best way possible. So we'd have to sit down with quite a few people before making that decision. But
yeah, and it's so interesting because like I know so little about adoption. Like I've never been through that process, but I do know enough to know that even if you adopt a newborn, because that child isn't your DNA, your flesh and blood, they're going to come with some sort of trauma in a way, like some sort of something that
you don't
they're
know how
bringing.
the pregnancy was. You don't know anything.
Yeah. You have no idea like what their experiences have been. And so every adoptive parent has to come in with that grace, you know.
And you get kind of the same thing too with like having a biological kid. I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're growing a baby and you're hoping everything's gonna come out all right, you know. But sometimes it doesn't. So I mean, there's always that like, not fear, but like you're gonna love it either way. But it's like you're taking on that responsibility as a parent, saying, I'm gonna love you regardless of the trauma, or if your child comes out with a disability or something like that. I don't think it changes as a parent if you love the child, like how much you love the child and how you treat the child.
Of course not.
It's just how you raise them and how you react to their reactions.
It's a big decision though.
Have you guys Go ahead. Have you guys talked to any adoption agencies or thought of like getting into that yet, or do you guys want to wait a couple years?
We're gonna wait just a little bit, probably not a couple of years.
Yeah.
But we have met with some families that have adopted.
Some families and friends that have adopted and kind of got their perspective. And like, it's crazy how many routes you can go. You can do foster into adoption, or you can go straight adoption with a baby. You can do adoption overseas.
Yeah, you can do private adoption. There's just all sorts of stuff.
So we've talked to quite a few different families about that, but we haven't talked to any agencies or anything.
No. I do think I want to adopt a kid probably from another country for the first one. Not like super set on it, but I just feel like there's a lot of people on the waiting list for babies in the United States. Like there's a ton of people on the waiting list for babies in the United States. It's like, I think it's like I think if all the babies were adopted like all year or something, there would still be people waiting on the wait. It's something crazy like that. And I'm like, man, like with us being in the position we can, financially and stuff, I'm like, if we can afford to adopt a baby from another country, it's not like I feel like we have to, but it's like, hey, we can do this and maybe other people can't. So like, maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited for you guys and the family that you guys will build together. I always love talking about like baby stuff because I know when we first got married, that was all I was thinking about. But
well, yeah, between the two of you, who is more eager to
more baby hungry?
Have a baby?
Definitely Maverick.
Really?
Yeah.
If he could, within the next year, we'd have a baby. But I'm like, we need to.
Like knowing that I'm gonna adopt too, it's like these kids are going, like they're growing.
You could have a baby next week. I mean, not really, but like sometimes it goes really fast.
It can, but just knowing like there's kids that need a home and knowing like, oh, I'm just waiting because like I want to wait. It's like obviously like that's okay, like we can wait, but there's also the part of me that's like, oh, like these kids need a father, they need a mother now. So you know what I mean?
No, we had some friends unfortunately fall into an adoption scam, and it was so sad. I mean, like they did so much to make sure it was legit, and this person just somehow like they were different than most scammers, because usually if someone's doing an adoption scam, they're asking for money, there's all these like, you know, red flags, all these warning signs, but they didn't have any of that. But then luckily after they went through that horrible experience, it was a fairly quick process for them. So they just like, we were on vacation in Hawaii, and they FaceTimed us, and they're like with their baby, and we're like, what? We're like, you guys have a baby? Like what? So we were just so happy for them. When
it
they
is crazy because like depending on the route you go, like you can get a call and they're like, hey, we have a kid in your area that's like needs a parent tonight. Or a family of 5. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I guess we'll go buy a minivan. Like, let's go get this.
Go buy a minivan.
We have
quintuplets ready to go.
We have a friend that we sat down to dinner with, and that was their story. Like, they had already had 4 kids, and they got a call, and they weren't even like looking. They just got a call and were like, hey, we have these kids. Like, can you do it? He
5?
No, he already had 4 kids of his own.
He already had 4 or 5, but it was enough. It was enough. They were now the van family that had to buy not a minivan, but the van.
The car that they had was not
going
to work anymore. So the very next day, he went and bought a car, and they picked up their daughter.
But the crazy part was he didn't tell his wife.
He just said yes. Which is crazy. We're not going to do that one.
He didn't tell his wife?
No, I'm just like,
you can't do that.
If you showed up with a kid, what are you doing?
No,
if
he's
like, oh, I got a kid.
Look, like,
I would also be like, wait, why didn't we talk about this?
Yeah.
And a car.
Wow. No, I've even heard of people just like getting a dog and not telling their spouse.
That is even way too much.
You can't do that. You gotta let your spouse know, especially for a literal
but also,
human.
Matt, you got another relationship. They already had like 4 kids, so
and
it was throw another one in the mix.
It was probably a foster situation, I believe, if I remember correctly. So it was probably like a
short term potentially.
Maybe short term,
maybe
and
a
then
night.
maybe you can decide to adopt it or whatever. It just needs a home for the next week or 2 weeks.
Obviously, there's a situation where, like, say somebody and their wife had been talking about adopting or fostering for a very long time, and they were like very much on the same wavelength, and it was just like
exciting
they
surprise.
get the call and they were just like, they said they gave the okay. That would be different if they'd already talked about everything beforehand. But just
well,
doing
of course,
that,
I would acknowledge like,
It's
hey,
still
I
scary,
love your heart behind this. I love the way that you just like jumped in. You saw
But you can't
need.
tell them to return it. Like,
no, maybe just like a simple text message, you know, would have been great.
Just shoot me a text. I'll like
Just
get some
hey.
formula. That's so exciting.
It is from the people I've talked to, it's very kind of moralizing when you're sitting there and you're going, because they give you a checklist of like what you will adopt. Like, are you okay if the baby is this? Are you okay if it has ADHD? If it has special needs? And they said there's like 150 or whatever, 200 things that you're like, you have to sit there and check and go, no, I don't think we can handle that. Yeah. Or, you know, hey, this person has trauma with a father figure. Will you accept a kid that has father figure trauma? Things like that.
That's tough.
Yeah, because I mean, these kids come from sometimes, you know, somebody broke into a house and shot both their parents. You know what I mean? And you're adopting the kid. Like, I mean, it's gonna have them. They're gonna have like, you know.
I can't imagine if someone were to take like a sheet of me and be like, okay, well, she's got this marked. Like, you know, there's a. Like, obviously, I understand that's a part of the process that's
I'm
there
scared
for a
that
reason.
Process to sit down there and look at that.
Yeah, you're like, what would they mark on my sheet? Like, and then I'm looking like a random, you know. I'm like, there's a human behind that. That's But then Wow, that's a crazy process.
It's honestly, it's great that they do it though, because if not, then somebody who's not okay with having a special needs kid would take that on, and it's just not good for the child. Yeah. Either one, return, or now they're just neglected even more because it's like, oh, I can't deal with that right now. Let's go put her in the room or whatever it is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you guys, and I trust that obviously you'll navigate it so well, and
I'm looking forward to it. But that part scares me because I'm just like, man, and not even just like the guilt of like sitting there going like, oh, I can't adopt somebody that has this because, you know, maybe we both are working, right? And it's like, oh, I can't adopt this person because, you know, they need a full-time assistant. You know what I mean? There's like, it's just, I'm not looking forward to that day of just like marking everything that you're okay with.
This is a super weird question, so if you don't want to answer this, like totally not
that
a big
goes
deal
for
at
any
all.
question we ask you.
But by the way, like any question you want to answer, like totally
so
respect that. But you talking about not having a period, I was just curious, is that something that you wish, like, man, I wish I could have that, like I would feel more complete? Or are you thankful that, like, gosh, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that?
When I was younger, I kind of wanted it. I was like, well, I want this, like everyone else has it, like what the heck, this is the worst, I don't have a period. But now I'm like,
that was like me with braces. I was like, I want braces.
But no, now I'm like, thank goodness I don't have to deal with that. I've grown out of that stage of life.
Dude, I'm so thankful. Because it's like
he was pumped about that part. He was like, oh, this is great.
I was so excited. I was like, wait, you don't get your period? I was like, this is going to be great.
That's a pro.
Yeah.
No, but like it really does allow you guys to perfectly plan out whenever you are having your child. Like it's not like you're going to have a surprise baby.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, so you guys really do get to call the shots on that, which is
somewhat.
I was going to ask you, once again, don't answer if you're not comfortable answering, but like, do you use birth control?
Nope.
Okay, because I was like, you have eggs, so I didn't know.
There'd be no reason.
I asked that question too because I was like, wait, is there a potential like for something to happen and it get to my ovaries and then now I have a pregnancy but with no uterus and it's just like in my
that's
stomach,
why I was like ectopic pregnancy or something like that.
She said it is possible but highly, highly, highly unlikely because the sperm would have to swim up over time and build up like scarring to the ovaries, and it would just have to happen just so perfectly that it has built up to now the sperm can like swim up its own scarring that it made.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
they said it's happened, but it's like so rare.
It's like 0.0001%.
Okay.
So
which is also the same like statistics with.
So like again, I'm just this ignorant man over here that doesn't fully understand everything. But like, how does that even? Like, without having a uterus, what is there? Is it just nothing? Like, what?
Yep, just nothing.
She was born like a little... This made it more clear to me. She was born prematurely. Yeah. So that it just wasn't formed. Like, the uterus part just wasn't formed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I also only have one kidney. So it's just like...
No way.
God was just like, yeah, we're just going to miss out those little pieces. It's fine.
He's like, she's good to go.
Yeah, I'm fine, though, in every other way. So
that's so interesting. How early were you?
I think my mom said I was a month and a half to 2 months early. I was supposed to be born in February, and I was born in December 21st. So
okay.
Yep.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, that is so interesting. You know what's interesting about that too? If you ever think about it, like whenever you turn 18, you can vote, right? And like depending on whenever the election falls that year, it can decide a lot. Or being 21,
thank goodness I was early. Now
that's
I can
when you can
vote.
drink. Think about like if you're born prematurely, right? Like it's almost like you got a head start over everybody else because technically you were supposed to be born later, but you're like, hey, I can vote earlier than everybody else, you know?
And my dad actually was not a fan of me being born early because
it's a different year
for softball. Yeah, and for softball because I played softball growing up, he was like, now I have to put you in the age level ahead. You could have been like the star of the show at the younger age level, but because you were born 9 months or 9 days too early to get into the next year, now we can't do that. And I'm like,
so what did your softball career look like?
Oh gosh, I started when I was 4 playing t-ball, and then I started playing select ball, which is like travel ball going around the state of Texas when I was 8. And then by the time I hit 14, I started doing different states, and so we'd go to Colorado a lot. Came to Florida a couple times.
Wow, this is like I just like casually asked that just as a joke, but this is like a really big part of your life.
Oh yeah,
so she played in college a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, you didn't finish in college, right?
My last semester of college, my senior year, I decided, you know what, I need to get an internship. Softball's not going to last forever. I loved my softball friends, but having softball and college was like a full-time job with college. And so I really wanted to dive into the church and like get a community group in church, and I just wasn't able to do that with all those things. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a step back from softball because that's not my career. Like, that's
Yeah.
not my future. I've loved it for so many years, but here's a stopping point. So I got an internship with the company that I went on to work for after college. And then I also got plugged into a church. And so, yeah. It all worked out. It was a bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
Just like anything in life. But
Kate played softball too, and what's crazy is they actually played at like the same competitions.
No
Yeah.
way.
They were in different age brackets.
yeah,
Because she's like 5 years older than Kate.
4.
4? Yeah. So they played in different age brackets, but they were at the same competitions.
That's
But you know
Isn't that
what?
crazy?
My little sister is Kate's age, so it would be so crazy. I bet they did play against each other, and I was at their games.
That's
That would
crazy.
be so crazy.
small world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have an age gap too, right? Because you're actually married to an older woman, right?
I
Yeah.
am by what?
A little less than a year.
11 months? Yeah.
Crazy.
Well,
You guys
it is
made like
crazy.
a lot of TikToks about that, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, when you get like something that hits on TikTok or YouTube, you just run it. Like you gotta keep running it.
And Matt he never specified the age at first, so people were like, oh my gosh, she's 10 years older than him. I'm like, do I look 10 years older than him?
No.
But
But there actually was a couple on TikTok where it was like,
Dude,
I want
know
to
who you're
say like
talking about.
50 years. It was
Dude,
crazy.
it was
I've seen
crazy.
But
I
it was
saw
the guy with the woman.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I love you, man. If you're out there, that was just crazy, and you gotta admit it's crazy because it was crazy.
It's the biggest age gap I've ever seen in my life.
I
Yeah.
don't
It was
know what you
wild.
guys are talking about.
I'll have to show you the video
No,
after this.
you don't.
what's
You're
that?
fine.
What's that song? It's like Vanilla Baby. They
Yeah.
did a TikTok to that, and that was like one of their bigger ones, wasn't it?
I don't know that couple.
Yeah.
They may have. They've made a lot of TikToks. They pop up on my For You page all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like
You
it's like,
found your
oh,
niche.
Yeah.
He's like the Cougars. That's my For You page.
You're older than her by a year.
I am older, yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of people on the podcast?
Well, by like
that,
only 6 months, actually.
We're like the same age basically.
No.
So
Well,
Do we get a lot of people on the podcast? What?
Yeah. Do you get like a lot of people? Because you guys mostly do couples, right?
Yeah.
for the
What's
most
been
part.
like the weirdest part about like interviewing couples? Like, has anybody been like what have you learned? Like, what's like the weirdest thing that like every couple does or something?
Oh man, everyone's just so different. That's what's interesting.
Wait, I
like
was going to say the opposite. I was
Wait,
like, I
really?
feel like the more people we talk to, I'm like, everyone's so much more alike than we realize. Yeah. But maybe Matt sees it a different way.
You guys are almost like, you know how like there's like therapists that are like, oh, here's what I learned from my studies. Like you guys are like interviewing all these couples.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Matt always says whenever we talk, we see like a couple that's been married like 50 plus years. We always ask, we're like, how'd you make it work? Like, how do you, like, are you still happy? Like all these things. And they're like, usually very happy. But then the husband always says, he's like, you know what? I just learned happy wife, happy life.
They
Every
always
time.
do say that.
And
Dude,
I know
every
there's
time.
something about
Texted
a
me
man
that
that
last
just
night.
like submits eventually. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna just go their way. They know better.
Dude, I'm the same way. Like even last night, she was like, should I get tickets on the plane? Like, should I pay for the upgrade so we can sit next to each other? And I was like, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I do care. I care a lot about whatever you want to do. I don't care. And she's like, you don't want to sit next to me? And I'm like, no, I care about whichever one you want to do. That's
Yeah.
fine.
The funny thing though is you guys with time you start to understand each other so much more, and because you understand your spouse on a whole different level over the years, you know what to do whenever there's a tricky situation. Like yesterday we had a kind of stressful travel day, and old Matt would have tried to like verbally say a lot of things to Abby and cheer her up, but I just knew yesterday after the travel day that all Abby needed was for me to not talk and play with her hair while I was driving the car, and that's what I did, and it worked.
You're so smart.
It worked. So I
It didn't
think
work.
like
I literally just felt. I was actually sitting there. And I was like, man, I hate that he found my kryptonite. Like as soon as he started doing it, I was like,
That's funny.
she just
Okay.
melted.
we didn't talk about that.
We did it.
I was like, man,
I love
I
you.
was like, he really came around. He found
But
my
see, now you
kryptonite.
spoiled it. Because like now when you touch her hair, she's going to be like, he thinks I'm mad.
Well,
Oh,
no,
crap.
I think she actually really appreciates it. Like I'll
I
play with her
did
hair
appreciate
for her
it.
to fall asleep most nights. When we're in bed, I'll like have my Kindle here with on dark mode
Let's
so that I
go.
can read the white text.
But if he stops before I fall asleep, I'm like,
And I just keep going. I've
That's
kind of got it
crazy.
down. I just like look at the Kindle and then boom, like
took him only 5
play
years.
with the hair. But then sometimes if we're in public and I'm just like casually playing with Abby's hair,
People
I'm
probably
like,
think it's
I know
weird.
my wife loves this, but I'm like, do people think I'm a
like
psycho because I'm like
petting
petting
her.
my wife, right? So I have to remind myself sometimes in public, like maybe
Setting
I
is
should do this
everything.
in private. So yeah. Anyway,
Dude, I think I've mastered falling asleep too. I just, when she's laying down, I just put the phone right on the back of her head, right here. And it's perfect. It's perfect. perfect.
You're kidding, right?
Hey, actually, no, he kind of does do
Yeah,
that.
I do.
Because he like cuddles me, but I know he's watching his little thing, which doesn't bother me. But I'm like, if he rolls over to the other side of the bed, even though I know he's not mad, I'm like, oh, he like rolled over. He doesn't want to touch me anymore. Like, what's going on?
I know. I get that
just
way too. I'm like-
subconsciously.
I literally tell him, I'm like, even just a pinky toe.
Yeah, that's what she does. She'll just like lay her
like,
foot on me.
Put my
I'm
leg
like,
over here. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Okay, relationship advice that has changed our life that I want to give to you guys
let's go.
completely
Oh my God.
unsolicited. Figure out right away what your love languages are, but like really, really know them, because what will happen, and this has happened in our marriage, is I will just give Abby an abundance of the love language that I like because it comes
Yeah.
naturally to me, right?
You're like, I like this. You should like this.
Yes. So I love words of affirmation. I will just shower her with words of affirmation. She does not care because that's not her love language.
That's so funny.
Her love language is acts of service. So like little things like making her coffee or
Sure.
getting her water to her before she's going to bed or playing with her hair. Like playing with her hair, that's an act of service to her, right?
Yeah.
So that means so much to her. Way
Yeah.
more than me showering her with compliments. So much more. Like literally me petting her hair
Yeah.
means more to Abby than me saying, I like this about you, this about you, this about you. So I just want to give you guys that advice
Yeah.
because
Oh, thank you.
what will happen as years go by is you'll be like, why aren't they showing me love? Like,
Sure.
why is Abby not complimenting me? Why is she not saying nice things to me? Meanwhile, she's doing all these acts of service for me that I'm not noticing because that's not my love language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to be very aware of what each other's love language is, because sometimes by default you start to do the thing that you want people to do to you.
Yeah.
But then you're forgetting that doesn't mean the same thing to other people, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, even just like in this short time we've been married, like, I feel like my love language before I was like, oh, it's physical touch. Like, I just want to cuddle. I want to hold you.
Yeah.
I want to just like hold your hand, hold your leg. Like if we're driving, like I just want to touch you. Like whatever. And like I am like that, but I feel like I've not changed, but like I'm definitely like, I love like when she's just made breakfast in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh my
things
gosh,
like
if that was your love language.
like
oh.
like when I'll like run downstairs, I'm like, thank you, and then I'll go back upstairs and eat my food or like whatever. Like it's just like
Yeah.
it just like makes my whole day. I'm like, wow, my life's amazing.
See, if that was Matt's love language, that would be great, because that's all I want to do. Because I'm like, I love him. I want to just like do things that would make
That's
his
what
life
he was
easier.
just saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you were just saying that.
No, it's literally
Okay.
like we both have to reprogram our brains to do the
Yeah.
thing that each other wants. So it's like, Matt, like stop complimenting her and just like go make her food or go like play with her hair. Do some
Sure.
sort of service thing rather than verbally saying it. And that's like what you have to do when you figure out whatever the love language is that your spouse has.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I didn't know that yours had changed into acts
I mean,
of service.
I feel like it's just like when you do those things, like I'll come in the room and I'm like, oh, she made the bed. It's just like, oh wow.
You
Like,
do point those things out now that I think about
yeah,
it.
I'm
but I
like,
didn't-
oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like every time it happens, I'm just like, my life is great. I'm like, go to my closet, I'm like, she did my laundry. Like this is I'm so blessed. This is awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so funny. 'Cause, yeah, I think Matt probably already said this while I went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, I did all these things for you. Like, how do you not feel so loved? Like, I thought about everything in your day, and I just like tried to make it easier for you.
I scheduled everything out
And I'm
for
like,
you.
just tell me you love me.
Yeah, he's like,
just say it.
that's so funny.
Kenzie, do you know what your love language is?
I think before we were dating, they were pretty even, but majority was probably words of affirmation. I just wanted to hear that he liked me and that like I meant something to him. But now that we're like living together, I think we're working together at the same time. I think it's shifted into acts of service as well. Just because we're so busy, and, like I'll get stressed out doing like 5 things at once, and then he does like one little thing. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to do that now. So, probably
Yeah.
the same,
Sweet.
which is good. Now we kind of have.
Yeah, at first she
similar-
thought I hated her because I like wouldn't like text her like when I asked you out and then we didn't go on the date for a while, so we
Yeah.
didn't go on the date for like it was like 2 weeks or something till the date, and so during that time I didn't text her once. I didn't like anything because I knew she was like kind of finicky. Like I was like,
Like, I don't want to mess this up.
yeah, like I had already asked her out once and she said no, so I was like, she said yes. I'm not giving
said,
her.
"I'm not speaking
I'm
to
not
her at all."
saying anything to mess this up.
And so I was like, oh, this guy doesn't like me. Like,
Yeah.
why did he ask me on a date? Like, I don't understand. And then even after our date, even though the date was so good, we actually went on a date the very next day because I lived out of town. So he took full advantage of the weekend. But we went on a second date.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it went good. But at the end, I don't know if he
It
was
was at
trying
the
to
beginning, actually.
Oh, it was at the beginning.
It was at the beginning.
I don't know if he was trying to be cool or.
No, I was just trying to be helpful.
He was like, yeah, like, I understand, like, if you want to go back to Temple, which is where I lived, and, like, if you're talking to other people, like, yeah, that's cool, like, go for it. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, why would you want me to talk to other people? Like, I don't get it. But I didn't say it out loud. I only said it in my head. And so I was like, this guy doesn't like me at all. And so then after that second date, even though both of them were very good dates, we didn't see each other again for like a week and a half, I think. And the entire time he didn't text me. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is over, because he just told me to talk to other people in Temple, and now he's not texting me. Like, it's done.
But I told her not. She made it very clear. She was like, do not jump into this. Like, I can't have kids.
I did do that,
I don't want to date you.
Yeah.
And then in 3 months, you're like, hey, I decided I do want to have kids. She's like, I don't want to waste time again and like get hurt again and do all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I told her, I was like, hey, before like you leave, I want you to know, like, I'm going to be praying about this, thinking about this, but don't let my, like, don't wait on me to make some decision, because it may take me 3 months. It may take me 6 months. Like, I'm going to pray through this and see like where it goes. And I didn't want her like waiting around to see like, oh, is this guy like, when's he going to come
trying
around?
to respect that. Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, like, if you have other people you're talking to or something, continue to go on dates, like do whatever you're doing. Like,
He was very clear about it. I was just like overly thinking it, and I was like, okay, that means he doesn't like want me. He wants me to talk to other people. So I was very confused.
which was not like, I didn't want you to, but I was just like, if you do, like, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to be mad, because I know like I wanted at the end of the day to be able to be intentional and say, hey, I had a great time. I'd like to take you out again. And I didn't feel like I could say that and mean it, because I was like, I need to go pray through this and focus on this before I can ask you out again.
Yeah.
So without being able to ask you out again, I was like, I don't want to give her any sort of like, hey, so like, I'm going to think about it and maybe I'll ask you out again. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
and
love that.
Yeah, and like leave her like wondering.
I
So
really
instead,
like
I just
that.
made her think I rejected her, I guess. I don't know. Probably not worse.
After we talked through all that,
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, okay, like, makes sense. Like, I do appreciate
Yeah.
that. But in the moment, I was like, I guess he just doesn't
No,
like
I
me.
totally see how you felt that way, but I
Yeah.
also really respect that,
Yeah.
because like something that really I loved about our dating process is like Matt didn't leave any room for confusion for me, like with like where we were. Like, it was like, I want to take you on a date, and then it's like, I want to call you my girlfriend, and then like it was just like very clear, whereas I feel like it can be easy to get in like a date trap where you're
Yeah.
like, we're not really technically dating, we don't have the security of even that temporary label.
Yeah.
But like, I also don't feel like I should be seeing other people. Like, it just is like, I like that directness. And
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
like really nice to have.
I think there are a lot of relationships in today's day and age where people are just so,
Situationships.
it's called situationships,
Yeah.
where it's just
Yeah.
very casual and it's not like a real relationship and there's no commitment.
Yeah.
So I think commitment's a good thing. I think it's great. And I think,
Yeah.
I really do think humans need that in their
Yeah.
life. And some, like, commitment's a really cool thing. And it's, I don't know, if you can't commit to anything, then what's the point of anything? You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what's the point? So
Yeah, I think guys need to be more intentional in that way, and just like being like, hey, I want to take you out on a date, and like ask the girl out on a
Yeah.
date, not, hey, do you want to hang out sometime? You know, it's like, ask them out on a date.
Yeah.
So they know it's a date, not, well, we hung out and I don't know what this, I don't know.
We were
if he-
alone,
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. I think he likes me. Like
Yeah.
ask them out on a date.
Yeah.
And if they want it, and if they say yes, then at the end of the date, you say, I'd like to ask you out on
Yes.
another date. And that's how it proceeds. It's just not,
yeah.
you know.
There-
Guys
Yeah.
wonder why girls are crazy. It's like, you're driving us crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
There's a funny story on that. Whenever he asked me on a date the first time, I was so like taken back, because I just didn't like, he was not giving off vibes of I'm about to ask you on a date at all. Also, we had never been alone together. We were always in a friend setting, and all of our friends just so happened to like be away from us at the moment. And he asked me, but when he was asking me, he said the word date like 2 or 3 times. And so as a joke, I thought I was being funny, even though he was trying to be like very serious. And I was like, oh, are you asking me on a date? And he was like, yes,
I was like, oh,
I'm
she's an
asking you on a
idiot.
date.
I was
Do you
like,
want to go on a
what?
date? So he was trying to be so intentional, and I was making fun of him. And he was like, what, you're not getting it. I was like, I got it.
He's like, for the 5th time.
Yes.
Date.
Yeah, I was like, hey, so do you want to go out on a date, like without our friends? Like, it'd just be a date, like with me and you, like not with them, like me and you on a date. And then she's
Well, I
like,
feel
are you
you-
asking me on a date? And I was like,
Oh,
this is horrible.
Well, that's probably, to be fair, it's probably because since you were already hanging out in a friend group,
Right.
you had to be extra like
Yeah.
clear
I
because
didn't
otherwise
wanna-
it could be like, oh yeah, I'll have someone else come along too, and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah, I
Which is
didn't want you
good.
inviting your friends. I would have been like, oh, well, now I'm paying for 3. This is great.
This is great.
Well,
crazy things.
Maverick, Kenzie, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, of
I've had
course.
such an amazing time. We've had an amazing time talking to
go.
you both.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited for you guys in the stage of life that you're in. You have so many fun things happening. I love that you guys survived your honeymoon and made it out.
I literally went to the bathroom. I was like, I have
Yes.
sweat stains from that compliment.
Yes. That I don't even get, like, I'm not like Abby where I get claustrophobic. That was freaking me out hearing you guys just
You're
sink
gonna
to the
throw
bottom
up.
of the ocean.
Yeah.
But hey, you're here and we're just so excited for you and just want the best for you guys. So thank you for being here. Where can people find you guys on social media? Where's the best spot?
Well, we got a lot
At
of channels.
Cash and Kate.
but-
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, just Maverick and Kenzie on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then mine alone is the Kinsey Brie.
Yeah.
And then his is just Maverick Baker.
Nice.
Yeah.
And obviously the LOL podcast.
Oh, for sure.
Super cool what you guys are doing there. We'll have to check out the video where you, what'd you say, threw the wall?
Threw a pumpkin through the wall.
Oh my God.
It
Well,
was crazy.
All right. Well, as always, this is where we say peace out, dudes. You guys want to say it with us?
All right.
Okay.
Peace
3,
out, dude.
2,
Oh,
1.
Peace out,
Peace out, dudes.
let's go.